And a million faces formed together, made for elevation. And a soldier won't surrender faith. It's like a fire that never burns to embers. The voice of the unheard. Love is the answer.
I gotta speak it, believe it, that's how I feel inside.
I can't sit here quiet.
You can take my heart, you can take my breath. When you pry it from the cold dead chest.
This is how we rise up. Heavy as a hurricane, louder than a freight train. This is how we rise up. Heart is beating faster, feels like thunder. Magic static, call me a fanatic. It's our world, they can never have it. This is how we rise up. It's our resistance, you can't resist us. Can you hear me? Are you listening? Sleeping and the shadows could be making history. Through the fire, on the water, used to be a slave, but now you are a conqueror.
They can take my heart, they can take my breath. When they pry it from the cold dead chest.
This is how we rise up. Heavy as a hurricane, louder than a freight train. This is how we rise up. Heart is beating faster, feels like thunder. Magic static, call me a fanatic. It's our world, they can never have it. This is how we rise up. It's our resistance, you can't resist us. We're rising up, rising up, we're rising up, rising up, we're rising up. This is how we rise up. It's our resistance, you can't resist us. This is how we rise up. Heavy as a hurricane, louder than a freight train. This is how we rise up. Heart is beating faster, feels like thunder. Magic static, call me a fanatic. It's our world, they can never have it. This is how we rise up. It's our resistance, you can't resist us.
And welcome everyone to another episode of Straight Talk with Joe Vollano. I am glad you are here. We are on location tonight. It has been an absolute crazy week. And I don't know about anyone else, but I have been blown away by what's been going on this week. Obviously, this is a political show. We try to inform everybody about what's going on. And, we talk about the good, the bad, the ugly. I think tonight is probably going to be some of the ugly and some of the bad. But again, this is how politics works in the city of Meriden. Not only city of Meriden, all over the place. But before we get ahead of that, for all those of you who are new to the show, I am Joe Vollano, your host, your guiding light. I am going to guide you through everything going on. Especially this week is going to be pretty much Republican. Other than the fact that we are going to talk about the RJ article that came out. We're going to talk about the mayor and his veto power and how he's already told Democrats, you have free reign to do whatever you want. I'm not really going to use it. So, why you show your cards before anything makes no sense to me. But that is the city of Meriden, where we all do favors for one another. Of course, this show only works best when you are involved. So if you want to call in 203-805-2520, feel free to call in. If you want to email us, straighttalkjv@gmail.com. And of course, if you're on any of the social media platforms, I see the message board is flying away between YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, all those great little platforms. So if you're on any of them, please feel free to join in on the conversation. I do have it up here watching you guys go already. So, but let's dive right in because we have a lot to talk about. And of course, if you looked at the beginning of the tease to the show, it said we had Elaine Cariotti, the former now MRTC chair of the Republican Party, but it kind of blew up from there. But we'll get into that in a second. So I want to talk about that RJ article real quick before we get Elaine and them on. The RJ article that came out obviously shows that Democrats have now lost their supermajority. What does that mean? That's actually quite important because it now gives, and we talked about this months before, how the mayor now becomes an important role. So everyone who says the mayor means nothing, this is when the mayor actually means something because now he has the ability to veto anything that he feels is a bad plan for moving the city forward. And Democrats, they have a ton of them, but Republicans haven't helped that cause over recent years. But I'm going to try to push that all down today and just talk about the article here. So, like I said, Kevin Scarpetta has already shown his hand, and he's basically saying that you can do whatever you want. I'm not going to whip out the veto pen. So have at it. And why did he do that? And again, we go back to what we talked about over the last couple of months, how, listen, he's not an independent. He's not unaffiliated. He is beholden to the Democrats. And he can't come out and say that I'm going to veto this, I'm going to veto that, don't even try it, because he needs their support in the future. So why would he go and show his hand prematurely? Listen, that's just the way he rolls. He's an opportunist. He's not going to try to ruffle any feathers. And that's just the way he rolls. It doesn't make any sense to me. If you're a negotiator, if you're in business, you know never to show your hand. And he has done just that. So it will be interesting to see leadership-wise. I got to imagine Republicans are going to stay with Dan Bernay as their minority leader. I'm guessing that Sonia Jelks is going to stay on. And then who is going to be the deputy mayor? I'm thinking I'm going to put my money on Bruce Fontanella. That's just going to be my opinion. I think that's who he'll eventually pick just because Bruce Fontanella is more middle of the road, or he's going to pick Joe Scaramuzzo. Those are the only two that I could actually think that would play on both sides somewhat well. So, but we'll see what happens. He thought Cardona, but Cardona, we all know what Cardona turned into. But getting on to that, there is a resolution coming before the the council this week, Monday. And I'm very surprised because I always talk about what Republicans do, how they actually promote our brand. We're Republicans. We're fiscal conservatives. At least we're supposed to be. But yet there's a resolution coming out, authored by the minority leader, Dan Bernay, to give Mike Cardona, the new city clerk-elect, a salary of $81,000. This man has no experience at all. He has zero experience. And just so I can put it up here, so you guys could all see, this is the average. Now, this is straight from the government's website on city clerk salaries. And it's the average city clerk salary is $67,000. $67,000 is the average city clerk salary in the state of Connecticut. And we are giving a man with zero experience $81,000. And that's going to be voted on Monday. And that's, again, it's coming from a Republican who's supposed to be a fiscal conservative, who's supposed to be a good steward of our money. Listen, Denise was only making 85, and she was there for 20-something years. So, again, I know it seems that I get down on Republicans a lot lately, but you're doing it to yourselves. I mean, and you could get mad all you want that I point these things out because I care about the Republican brand. And because that's what I am. I am a fiscal conservative. And you make us out to look like we're not that. For what reason? I had no idea why Dan Bernay has his fingerprints on this at all. It is beyond me. This should be coming through finance with Cortez. Let the Democrats sit there and do this. And Republicans should vote against it. But like I always say, if you're going to vote like a Democrat, just go vote for a Democrat then. And that's exactly what the people did. The people do that. It just makes absolutely no sense. But I think the big thing in that story was that Elaine Cariotti, the MRTC chair, had resigned. Now, many people won't believe this. All of this came to a huge shock to me because we talked. Listen, me. If anyone doesn't know, me and Elaine are BFFs. There's no two ways about that. Me and Elaine are best friends. And I talk to her probably several times a day. And we talk about everything under the sun. But you know what we really don't talk much about? The MRTC. I know many people don't believe that. But I'll give advice when asked. And believe it or not, me, her, and Kurt had a discussion earlier that day. And my advice to them was, no matter how upset you are about what's going on, emotions are raw. I think everyone just needs to take a step back and breathe. And I advised against making any decisions over the next couple weeks. Little to my surprise, I didn't find out till the next morning when I talked to Elaine and she's like, yeah, we all resigned. And I almost lost my mind. I was like, what are you talking about? You guys all resigned. And she's like, yeah, literally a lot of people resigned. And if anyone else was taken by surprise of it, I was also. But then, the phone calls started coming in. And everyone's telling me, and everyone's calling me, hey, did you hear about this? Did you hear about that? This person just resigned. This person just resigned. Now I'm getting emails on resignations. I'm like, holy shit. I was like, what is going on here? I was like, what is going on here? So this was supposed to be an interview of me and Elaine tonight. But then I started getting calls, and now we have 5 people that are here with us tonight. All former members of the MRTC, former candidates, Long time, Carl, 20 years with the MRTC. Obviously, Ed McCarthy, who was the secretary, Elaine Cariotti, which was the chair. Kurt is on the executive board, and obviously he was a mayoral candidate. And then we got Dan Zabrowski, who we can't really see there. There he is. There's Dan Zabrowski. Again, another long-time member, and again, obviously run for office a couple times. I still can't believe you lost. I can't believe you lost. But is there different reasons for that? Is it because you have certain people in the town committee that are fought you guys tooth and nail every such way? Now, listen, I left the MRTC, just over 2 years ago. And I think there was a lot of confusion on why I left. I left not because I don't love the party anymore. I left because me and this show was starting to be a hindrance to getting stuff done. At least that's what some people said. Mostly because I started going after Republicans when we started finding wrongdoings by some in our own party. And obviously you have those that are in the party still today that wasn't very appreciative of that. Now, we're going to hear their story tonight. Now, for the remaining MRTC members, you are more than welcome to all come on the show next week, and we can hear your side if you want. Now, again, I'm going to be very cordial, even though I think when we go through some of the emails that were sent out, how I'm getting blamed for any of it is beyond me. I don't even know how my name's even getting involved in this conversation. To me, I left the RTC 2 years ago. I never looked back. So I don't have a say. Apparently, I run the RTC from behind the scenes, and people are just my little puppets. Which again, I had more control of the MRTC. Under Sean McDonald's reign administration than I did under Elaine's. I mean, when Sean got elected, again, and I'll be the first to say I was part of that when getting Sean elected, because again, the party was stagnant and loved Guy Beeman to death. But the party just needed a new direction, needed to take a new perspective. So we brought in Sean, and things ran pretty smoothly. I think me and Elaine that's really when I met Elaine, was during Sean's administration, and we were working together, hand in hand, making sure everything ran smoothly. So again, I had no issues. The problem with Sean was that Sean just didn't want to do the work. And Sean just decided that he wanted the title and the title only, and he didn't want to learn anything. Now, again, this is nothing that I haven't said to him, nothing we haven't said on the show before. But he just didn't want to do it. So, and me and Elaine stepped back the last 6 months of his administration, and we saw how that turned out. The other administration turned to shit. So, and that's when, Elaine ended up stepping in, because we almost lost the RTC. We ended up having to petition to get the RTC back, which is a whole nother issue all the way around. And that's when Elaine came in. And Elaine, again, I never seen anyone fundraise like Elaine Cariotti. My camera shut off on me. So Elaine came on. Let's see if we get you guys back. So I hate this camera. Hey Beth, can you do me a favor? Can you just put that camera over towards them, please? They don't need to see. You guys see me already. It came back on. Hold on one second. You might don't even have to do that. We got a camera woman tonight. Now just throw the camera towards them. You can just move the whole thing. So then that's when Elaine came in. There we go. We're going to have that light in there. Well, we got a camera lady. So she'll just have to kind of push it around a little bit. So that's when Elaine came in, and Elaine brought stability back to the party, and I think that was a great thing. Again, I wasn't on the committee at that time. I had no point in electing her or whatnot. Obviously, I put my support behind her, and she has done a tremendous job, and I'll say that. And, I was a little hesitant at first, but she really did do a great job as chair of the MRTC. Now, obviously, there were some people that were very upset that Elaine got RTC chair. And again, you guys won't get into the name calling and calling people out. I don't mind it because I don't care. So, the Manny Santoses, the Lou Aradas, the Sean McDonalds, and their little group of minions. So those are the people that did not want, because they were pissed that they lost their power. And obviously then the whole thing with Manny lost his state central. And of course they're trying to blame you for that, which makes no sense to me on how they're blaming you. That's between 4 different towns and cities. How that is your fault blows my mind. But, but of course that was blamed on you also. So let's start at Wednesday night. Well, let's start with Wednesday morning, because me, you, and Kurt had a long, lengthy discussion about how unhappy you guys were, but how do you guys move the party forward? And if you were going to resign, or if you weren't going to stay on, how do you go about making sure it's done in a decent way? Now, obviously we talked about it, and I said I advised not to turn around and resign that night. Obviously, you didn't take for being a puppet. You're a very bad puppet. For being my puppet, you do a horrible job. and again, I don't know if anyone knows. Me and Elaine, listen. If anyone's a puppet, I'm the puppet. I mean, she tells me what to do. If anyone knows Elaine ain't taking friggin' anything from anybody. She's telling me what to do. She's like, Joe, you got to do this, this, and this. And I'm like, I guess so. Okay. So the fact that somehow you're my puppet, I find absolutely hilarious, because that could never be the case. But why don't you walk me through after our conversation on Tuesday?
Well, there's a lot leading up to it.
You got talking to your microphone.
There's a lot leading up to it. When I became chair, it'll be almost 2 years. From day one, I had pushback, constant pushback.
Like, what is that? But what kind of pushback?
Let's see. It started out when I became chair. They weren't happy that I was chair. They challenged me every single meeting. Manny, every time I had a meeting, Manny interjected constantly.
And these are the RTC meetings, the monthly meetings.
Or committee meetings. He interjected constantly, trying to throw me off on how to. There's a lot to learn when you're doing Robert rules and things like that. And if people interrupt on the flow, you forget your place. You have to learn a lot of things, And he just kept throwing me off my game, and it just was constant. Then it became constable. Constable is something the city manager lets me pick 3 constables, and it's at the chair's discretion who gets it. There's a 1-year term. It has a beginning date and it has an ending date. Sean put himself, when he was chair, in it for 2 years. I chose to put it out to the whole committee because I felt everybody had an opportunity to experience it. I think it's something that other people should have a chance. Well, at that time, it was Sean, Manny, and Scott Burling, who were constables. They did not like that I put it out to the committee. They felt I should have asked them first if they wanted to continue, which was not the case, because there was a beginning date and an ending date. and they didn't like that.
So basically, they weren't happy again, and they weren't happy getting their positions taken away. They felt that they were entitled to, and listen, and they act again. And this is again nothing that I haven't said before. They act like entitled brats, and if they don't get their
felt
way,
I had to check with them first.
yeah. Which again, no one
Is not true.
you don't have to do. So that's not your job to do that. So okay, so let's talk about how this all unfolded on Wednesday night. Because again, this was I know Dan Bernay said he was shocked about what happened. And Dan, I saw Dan Bernay is there. Dan, please explain to me why Mike Cardona deserves $81,000. I saw that you commented on it that you're here tonight. Please, you're the one putting this forward. How is he worth $81,000 with absolutely zero experience? So I look forward to that answer if he sees it. All right, so take me into Wednesday night. You were in the town committee meeting. Did you guys talk about this all? Did you guys all talk about this beforehand, or did this just happen?
No, we really didn't. We didn't talk. I had my own letter of resignation. I had been on the fence all week long because after doing the election, I had a little medical issue during the election because I was under a lot of stress between running my meetings, running my campaign. My vice chair was not doing his job. He pretty much he didn't do anything, quite frankly. Even tasks that I asked him to help out with, every time I asked him, what do you have for us? And it was, I got nothing. So I was doing triple duty.
So now, who was the first one to resign? So, Elaine, you were the first one?
I was the first one to resign, yes.
And then who was next? And then Kurt, and then... Now, Dan, I got to say, yours surprised me probably the most. Because, you've been a pretty loyal, I don't want to say foot soldier. But you're literally, if you say Republican, I say Dan Zabrowski. Because again, you're at almost every single meeting. I think you represent the party well. Again, we could sit there and your Lenny Rich moments where where that comes out. But to see your name come out there was a shocker to me.
Well, my biggest concern was when I was going to apply for the independent party. I approached
Who was?
when I put my name in for the independent party to be on the ticket.
Okay.
I approached two members, supposedly so-called Republicans, husband and wife, in my backyard. I went up to the husband. I says, "Would you sign my petition so that I can get on the ballot for independent?" "Oh, no, I can't do that." "Oh, you can't?" "Well, what about your wife?" Goes up and he says, "Oh, she can't do it either." And I was dumbfounded. So I told Robbie that night, the reason why my resignation was in before anybody even knew about it was the fact that all this animosity, I and me during the campaign, all the things that went on just disturbed me. And I just feel that, again, if there's anything that you want to do, and I put it in there, unity. There's no unity whatsoever in there. And the sad part is that to see what went on, people going rogue. There was 3 that went rogue that never even approached me and said, well, maybe I could come over, or I know somebody, maybe help out or whatever.
So are you talking about 3 rogue candidates that just decided that we weren't going to do anything with the party, we were just going to do our own thing and call it a day?
Yes.
Is that what you're talking about? Okay. And again, I see that happens a lot in the Republican Party compared to the Democrat side. Even in the article, the Democrats talking about, they do everything together. Elaine, why do you feel that has always been an issue on the Republican side, that, everybody was pretty much out for themselves?
I think that is something that this party has had for a long time, that you just go and do your own thing. And I tried to bring the candidates together. I started trying to have Saturday morning meetings. They weren't even showing up. Then when they showed up, there was chaos. We couldn't get anything together. So you can't unify and do things together if nobody wants to show up. Or if we even tried doing lit drops together. And people were doing their own thing. Same thing with sign waving. I made schedules. We made schedules for lit drops. We made schedules for sign waving. It was very hard. Some people, they said they had scheduling conflicts. But for that whole length, there were people that didn't show up at all. So some people just didn't want to do their own thing, which I think is not right. They took Republican money, and they basically did their own thing.
So, I mean, you talk about, taking Republican money. Never in the years that I've been on the RTC have I ever seen a committee raise $20,000 every year. And again, that is right there. That is complete credit to you, Elaine, because when me and you started with the fundraising in Sean's administration, we were still doing decent. We were doing about 10 grand per year.
Yeah. So I did all the fundraising when he was chair.
Yeah.
And we did 10,000 every year.
And now you're up to 20,000. So
we probably were over 30 if we didn't have any.
Well, if you didn't have any expenses or anything like that, so you figure you're raising about a gross of over 30,000. Right. Mm-hmm. But again, you had 24,000 going into this election. 26,000 going into this. Listen, for Republicans, that's friggin' huge. But again, Republicans, I don't think are even used to that.
We were number one fundraiser in the state of Connecticut.
So you were number one fundraiser in the entire state.
By the GOP.
And people were still upset with you over stupid crap.
Yeah.
Because they lost, and you know what I think it is, and I've said before, is the fact that they lost power and they lost control. They weren't able to dictate what everybody does. And since there was a new leader in town, and they felt threatened. Therefore, the best way to get rid of you is to just go after you every single day. And it's unfortunate. Like I said, I would love to hear the other side of this. I would love for the new executive board, I think, so Lou Arata is going to be the new chair until March. Lou, you have an open invitation to come on the show. And I'll give you as much time as you want to sit there and respond to anything that's said here tonight. If you want to bring Manny, you can bring Manny. If you want to bring Sean, it don't matter. You can bring anyone you want. I will give you guys as much time as you want to come in and go ahead and say what you want to say. And I would love to know from those that are remaining, how the hell you bring my name into it. So... it'd be absolutely perfect. Mike, you are more than welcome to calling anytime you like. The phone is always on. So that was Michael care about it. He said, let me call in now. You're more than welcome to call in, and we'll take your call. I have absolutely no issue.
One thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
And this is one of the things that bothers me. Now they'll say, Joe dropped out of the RTC, Joe did this, Joe did that. But he doesn't toot his own horn. With all the flower sales, ticket sales, everything else, Joe was there. So don't tell me that he didn't do something. I know he doesn't want to take kudos or whatever, but to do what he did, that makes a unity of a party.
Listen, to me, all I care about is doing what's best for the public, doing what's best for the city. And I still sit there and I'll say this now. I've said this before. I'll say this in the future. It's not about I. Anyone whose sister is in politics says I, me, absolutely run away from them because they are dangerous. They are toxic. It's like, just stay away from that. It should all be about us, we. What are we doing to further Republican values, and what are we doing to help the citizens of the city of Meriden. That should be the only concern that any candidate has, any RTC member should have. Now, again, those values have never ended with me, even when I left the MRTC. Listen, to me, I left the MRTC because Sean said he was catching flack for what I say on the show. And again, I would never back down from anything I said, and I never did. In fact, and we sat here at this table at one point with Dan Brunet here, and Dan Brunet at least had the decency to explain why he voted the way he did on the public health, racism is a public health crisis. Because we were all told as a party that we were never going to vote for that. We were going to vote no, 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 no. And then all of a sudden, because somebody cries, all of a sudden we have Republicans changing their votes. It's like, that's not leadership. That is not standing for Republican values. So people can be pissed at me all they want on that. The facts are what they are. And Mike, again, I would love, Mike Carabetta's never answered for that vote. He just says that that's the way I voted, that's the way he feels. Well, then that's the way we voted, and that's the way we felt. That's the way I felt, which is why I said he should not have been reelected. But he was. And again, that's the right of the people, right? That's why we have elections. And again, people don't need to vote the same way I do. I don't care. Now, I'll sit there and give my opinion, and I'll back my opinion up with facts. But people are more entitled to do whatever they want. Like Elaine and Kurt, we had the discussion in the morning. I gave my opinion. That's what it is. It's my opinion. You obviously took not to listen to my opinion, and you guys went ahead and did what you want to do. And I respect that. And the fact that all of you did it together, while absolutely shocking to me, listen, I respect it. I respect what you did. You stood on your principles. And if you're not going to leave each other behind, you all felt the exact same way, so you all banded together and you did what you did. Now, I think, what do we got? Close to almost 20 people that have resigned over the last couple of days?
Yeah.
Almost 20 people. That's almost half the RTC has resigned.
All the workers.
Well, definitely all the workers. So that's got to tell you something. Yeah. And so, but again, so now I guess the party decide, Mike, let me put it on there because you must not have gotten my phone number, even though you should have it. 203-805-2520. Feel free to give us a call on the show. I see you said you let me call in now, and I'm giving you your opportunity. I would love to hear from you. So if you want to call, 203-805-2520. The floor will be yours. And I'll leave it up there so you have it. So in case you come back on and you want to see it. But where do you think that they got the message? Do you think that those that had all the animosity towards you guys? Because obviously it's not just towards Elaine. It had to be towards, all those that supported her.
Correct.
So, which is why I feel that you guys probably did what you did together, because you felt like, you all needed to stand up together, which again, I respect the hell out of, because there's nothing more important than loyalty. So not loyal to a party. Let me make that very, very, very clear. Anyone who's loyal to a party over principle and values, again, run away from those people, because those are dangerous people. You can't be dependent. You can't be loyal to a party. You have to be loyal to your values and to what you believe in to be true. And that's the only thing, because that's the only thing you'll be remembered by, in my opinion.
Well, like I said in the article, there are a lot of great Republicans in the party that want to see this city moving in the right direction, that are willing to put their heart and soul in it to make progress in the city, because they want to see change and they want to see the city turn around and prosper and grow. And these people right here are all part of that. We all tried so hard for 2 years to try and do it. And then there was, like I said, a group of bad apples that just fought us constantly.
So let me ask you this. And I think Amy Jo, you you put it, you know, that's what I was talking about before, which is why I spoke against it in that morning. Because she asked, how do you invoke change from the outside? So again, obviously you can, because I'm on the outside and apparently I run everything. So listen here, you little peasants, you will do as I tell you to do. So obviously all my little puppets are here. Of course, you don't listen to shit I say, so apparently. But you know, how do you vote? You can evoke change from the outside. You can. I think, you know. Apparently, I live rent free in a lot of people's heads in the RTC still. But again, to me, I find that as disrespectful to you guys, because you guys are the ones that did the work. Wasn't me. Dan, I could give my money all day long. I don't. That's all fine and dandy with me, and I'll come and help out when Elaine. Like I said, I'm Elaine's puppet. Elaine tells me, "Hey, Joe, you gotta do this for me, or can you help me with this?"
Hey, listen, you delivered the signs election day morning.
Yeah, you know,
the poll location.
right. So you know,
My little elf.
yeah. So you know, Lou's truck breaks down, and she turned around and told me, "Hey, you need to do this." Okay, I guess I'm doing it. But that comes with BFF status. Don't take it for granted. That, again, my loyalty. This is where my loyalty comes in. But where do we see the party going from now? Again, because now you're on the outside. Where do you guys see the party going now? Because I look at it, and I look at the players, the remaining, and I think you're right back to 2 years ago where, you know, you almost lost the party because, you know, paperwork wasn't filed on time. And we just got welcomed by Noberto. He's over there on the side. Welcome. Now, I'm taking it. He resigned too. I'm taking it.
He did.
So, but where do you guys see the party going now? Carl, just throw the mic to Carl. Carl, obviously you're the longest serving one. You've been here 20 years. Where did you see the party from the beginning when you got on? Take us down a quick little memory lane on where you saw it going.
20 years ago, when I moved to Meriden in 2002,
You got to put it in the.
I got a letter from the town committee to come.
Give him your mic. That one's a little bit more sensitive.
I got a letter from the town committee to come to a meeting. I came to the meeting. There was like 15 people. It wasn't enough for a quorum, and all it was fighting. People yelling and screaming and people storming out. It was just after the block of Republicans left and went to We the People. I don't know the whole story with that, but that's the gist that I got. And David White was the chairman at the time and asked me to come back next month and would I join the town committee. So I joined the town committee and then helped with the fundraisers, and I never wanted to be on the executive board or anything special. I says, you need my help, just call me.
And I will say, you and Christine are like, if you need help, like a phone call, and you guys are there.
Absolutely.
So
Always there for us.
I'll give you guys that. I mean, you guys are always there to help a hand. So you came in under Dave White's administration.
Yep.
And then you kind of just
Flowed along. It kind of grew a little bit. I noticed times that it was all men. There was no women on the town committee. Then we were looking for people of color. There was a woman named Florisha Allen, a nice woman, and they somehow forced her out. Me and my wife was friends with her and her husband, and they basically told us they were basically forced out by the town committee. Then you had Ernestine Holloway, I love Ernestine, don't take it wrong. Ernestine can be a little extreme sometimes. They basically forced her out. And we have Isabel, a woman of color, and we started getting some females in there. And it just seems like it's an old boys club.
yeah. Well, I mean, you had me all the way up to. I'll take the Ernestine Holloway, and I'm going to have to disagree with you on that one.
I'm friends. I've been friends with Ernestine.
Yeah, listen.
She's a nice lady.
Yeah,
But
we'll go with that.
she has her moments. Let's put
Oh,
it that way.
does she have her moments? So, okay, so call you went to voicemail. Call back, Mike. I don't see a phone. I didn't see it come through at all. But by all means, call back. I'll put you right on. Yeah, I mean, I'll give you up to the whole Ernestine Holloway thing. So where do you see now? Why did you resign?
Well, I kind of stepped down near the tail end of Sean's reign. I just wanted to become an associate member, me and my wife. They was always wanting the new young guns to come in. Wanted the new young guns. Let them do the bull work. I says, but I'm always there. Wife's always there. Give us a phone call. We're there. We're there for the Daffodil Festival. We're there for sign waving. If a candidate sends me a letter, says I need a check, it's in the mail in 2 or 3 days. They've got it. Or if you have a fundraiser, and I can't go to all the fundraisers, but I'll go to some fundraisers. I'll chip a little money. My wife and I are not rich. We may look good on paper, but we're not rich. And we'll help the candidates as much as we can. You know?
Well, I will tell you this from personal experience. You definitely are willing to help the candidates out, and I think you guys do a great job at it. So, where do you guys see this party going forward? And what do you see your role as Republicans going forward?
Well, the problem is it was brought up the other night that only 28% of the Republicans in the town of Meriden voted. Now, maybe if we had gotten more people, Republicans voting, Dan would have won. Kurt would have won. Elaine would have won. We could have had a sweep. We could have picked up a third seat on election night on the Board of Ed with Homer, Mr. Gomer, and Gomez there, and us. A great candidate. We've had great candidates the last few cycles. Great candidates. Now, in my lifetime with the RNC, I've seen some real doozies of some candidates that we've put up. And I'm not going to name names, but you could probably think of a few doozies that we've put up just to fill the slots.
Yeah. So, Noberto, Ed, where do you guys see the party?
I think the party needs some help. That we need to go back to our standards and put up good Republican candidates and unify. I did not see very much unity at all this election. There were several candidates that were united and went together, and there were several that were doing their own thing. And it just didn't look good, and I think the people noticed that.
Noberto.
Yeah, same here. I noticed a lot of difference in just the way people were acting in there. I mean, when I was running for city council 2 years ago, I mean, it was all up, hands on deck. Everybody was out helping me out, But after the election, I didn't see that. It's just like they turned their backs on just looking at me. I mean, that's the way I felt. Betrayed. That's what I felt. And I mean, it needs help, like he said.
And I've been doing politics for 30 years. 10 years when I lived in Bristol, and 20 years here in Meriden. And not just this particular campaign season, but I've seen it many, many times before when you have a whole slate of Republicans and you have one or two candidates that will not support, and they've already made it publicly known that they're not going to vote for other candidates on their Republican line.
Well, I'll sit there and say this, though. I didn't vote for some Republicans on the Republican line.
But when you're a candidate and you're on that whole slate, and you make it known, and you don't want somebody who's running that cycle, you don't want that candidate signed
I will say this
next to theirs.
I will say this: you do have a different responsibility. Again, it's more freeing for me not being on the MRTC. So I will say this: if I'm on the MRTC, or if I'm a candidate, even if I have a disagreement with another candidate, you will never hear me say it publicly. I will show you the respect, the Republican Party the respect. Because, again, Republicans are the ones that put your slate forward. So, obviously, this is what Republicans agree with. There's plenty of times where I wanted Kevin on, and I was outvoted. And many of you were probably there. And, listen, okay, then we put up where? We put Irene Massey up. So what I do? Immediately went and helped Irene Massey out because I knew Irene Massey wasn't going to get any help, no matter what rainbows and lollipops she was promised. So as a Republican on the MRTC or as a candidate, yes, you can disagree with candidates. You should keep that to yourself. I will say that. For me personally, obviously not being on the MRTC, I'm not, again, for me, I'm not about party. I'm about getting the right person who I feel will represent the city in the best way possible.
Joe, I just wanted to pass off one thing. And a lot of people knew about it, and it was out there. As one individual who's an MRTC member made a comment to Elaine, I voted for Sharpati. I didn't vote for you. And then on social media posted, you're a clown. Now,
yeah, listen, but again, so that's
unity.
Well, that's listen. There's always going to be internal battles. Always, you're not going to get 40 people in a room and agree on everything. Again, when you're on the MRTC, when you are a candidate, there are certain responsibilities you have. And again, right back to what we were just talking about. As an MRTC member, you don't have to agree with everyone, but you are damn well not going to be putting it out there in the public eye.
Right.
Well, listen, if you do that, when you go on social media and you are MRTC committee member and you go against someone that we endorsed, that is breaking a bylaw. If you go on social media bashing a candidate.
Yeah, listen, like I said, and I always said it, when you are on the MRTC, what you say matters because you represent Republicans throughout the city. Most people don't know when it comes to town committees, they are elected by the Republicans or the Democrats of the entire town. It's done through caucus. So yeah, so you do have a responsibility as an MRTC member. Again, if you don't like someone, that's fine. Don't like that person.
Absolutely.
You just don't say anything. You just keep your mouth shut. You know, I know I had a conversation with some people who said they had to hold their nose for voting for certain people on the Republican Party, but that's okay. You know what? You felt that that's what you had to do. Again, you do have there is a responsibility for members, and that should always be upheld. Is that again, you just don't say it. If you can believe what you want, just don't freaking say it, unless you're ready to deal with the consequences that come along with that.
Right.
So now, whether or not consequences were handed down, I don't know. I don't know which one we're talking about.
Well, excuse me. Yeah, there were consequences. The consequences are we didn't gain all those seats on the city council. We're talking about unity.
Well, I think he's talking.
Well, let's not say that one person's went to voicemail again.
No, well, there was consequences. We were going to censor the person.
Your microphone's not on. So Mike keeps saying he's trying to call in, but he says it's going straight to voicemail.
Bad service.
Mike, I'm holding my phone. Go ahead and call. I don't know what the fuck's going on here. My phone's right here. You're right here in front of me.
Again, we were supposed to censor that person. It was voted on, and vice.
Oh, hold on. Here we go.
Okay.
He's calling in. Hold on, Mike. Mike, can you hear me? Hold on. Can you hear me?
I can't hear you through the phone.
I can hear it. Can you hear me now?
Now I could hear you.
All right. Mike, go ahead. Floor is yours.
Oh, this is going to screw me up with the phone in the other room.
Yeah, you got to mute your podcast.
Yeah, somebody else is listening to it, so.
Oh, okay. Well, just tell them to lower.
I have to go outside.
Go ahead.
All right.
So hold on, real quick. Just joining us is Michael Carabetta. He is the Republican City Council member for Area 4. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, I just wanted to be able to say my piece.
Oh, absolutely.
If a question came up, but it's pretty telling of Elaine's leadership how she just stepped down after an election. You can't go through a tough time and then just step down.
Well, again, I think her point is she's been going through this tough time for over 2 years, and I don't think it's anything to do with. I don't think it's anything to do with her stepping down. I think it was a joint conversation between a lot of people. Like I said, you can't sit there and look at almost 20 people resigning and think that that's there's not there's a.
I don't have word that 20 people resigned. I have 4 resignations.
Four? Mike, I could go through this whole list with you. You have at least almost 20 people.
Go ahead. You'd have to tell me something I don't know because I haven't
list?
seen.
Someone grab me the list. You have 20, Mike, 20 people. So
What?
hold on a
20
second.
people?
Hold on a second.
I mean, like I said, I don't know the 20 people.
No,
I've
that's
seen
not the right
4.
one. Yeah, so you probably saw 4 of them. So I'm taking it Lou hasn't got you up to date. Hold on a second. Let me.
All right, so the original 5 were myself, Dan Zambrowski, Melissa Dorsch.
Oh, hold on a second. I got it here. So give me 1 second here. Okay, so here we go. So you have again, and I'm not going to say their last names because obviously for whatever reasons they do it. So you have Philip. You got Elaine, Melissa, Roberto, Doreen, Kurt, Robert, Edward, Miguel, Kristen, Amy, Daniel. There's another page to this, and there's another 8 or 9 more. There's actually even more than that.
There's
okay,
Christina,
well,
there's Carl, there's
you can't just say there's even more than that and not
there's
name
Juan.
them. I mean, let's count them out.
Oh, we can. Can I go to the other page?
There's like 16.
16?
Yeah.
16 is the total?
I think it's about 16.
So you can't tell me
So
that's-
there's like 15, or is there 15?
No, there's 16, she said.
I mean,
You're splitting hairs.
what's the
15 or
fact?
16.
What is the fact?
Okay.
What's the number?
1, 2,
Because
3,
again,
4,
we're-
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 19 is the official
All right,
number.
what are their names?
You go through them all. So you got Philip.
Otherwise, you're just counting.
Okay. So Philip, Elaine, Melissa, Roberto, Doreen, Kurt, Robert, Don, Edward, Miguel, Isabel, Kristen, Amy, Dan, Len, Carl, Kristen, Roy, Juan, Andrew, Nicole.
All right, I'll follow up with a couple of those because I believe they did.
So they did. So again, so based on that,
We'll just leave it at you don't know how many.
we don't. I just gave them to you. I just gave them to you. They all officially put in resignation
Mike,
letters.
you're still at 5.
So
Email me
let
the resignation letter.
So let me ask you this:
What?
who do you want?
I said email me the resignation
They're
letter.
in
Oh,
the
listen,
email.
listen. Lou has them all. You can go to your chair. Go to your chair. It's fine. But here, so Mike, just let me ask you
No,
this
he's
question.
not reporting it publicly. You are.
Again, so what's the difference? With your own party, obviously, isn't telling you how dangerous it is.
All right,
so Mike, so let me
nonsense.
ask you this. So with all those people resigning, which they have, now, don't you see that can't you even relate that there's a problem here?
There was a problem, yes, but she took care of herself.
You think she was? So hold on a second. So go ahead. Explain to me how that is. Someone who comes in and raises a shit ton of money, does everything possible to make sure you guys are on a winning thing, and let me know how she screwed it up.
Well, let me ask you this: does money win elections?
No, not always. But
Okay.
it certainly does. But it certainly does
Well,
help.
it definitely did in this point.
So
did it?
it certainly does help. I mean, you guys did have $26,000.
Mike, you
Yeah, what did I get?
You got signs, didn't
Mike,
you?
I have no idea what you got.
Mike got
Yeah.
signs from the Republican Party, so he took money.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's what I got. $600 worth of signs.
But that's what all the candidates got, and then they hold on. a
In
second.
2 years, we spent $40,000 and picked up nothing.
Okay, but is that again?
Okay.
And how is that?
So that's the leadership, right?
well,
that
you
you're
did.
defending.
Actually, you did pick up because you picked up another seat this year.
Right? And
That's it.
Ray
One
picked
thing.
up a seat.
Okay. So how is that her fault that you guys all didn't get over the finish line? How's that the chairwoman's fault?
If you haven't seen so far, all those people that resigned publicly and did us dirty like that are the division.
Did you dirty?
They are the division.
They are the division?
Ed McCarthy was in there on Facebook
Actually, Mike, you
every
are part
day
of the
saying
division.
all incumbents need to go. I'm an incumbent.
Yeah, well, again, I would.
Where's the unity?
I would be. Well, first of all, as a nod. Now, I don't know. I haven't seen that. Ed, is that
Right?
one?
They're
Did you write
talking
that?
about unity, but they're saying all incumbents need to go. Dan Zaborowski said the same thing, and he was a candidate. I never said one thing about him.
So
I
hold on,
never
a
said
second, hold on, a
one
second,
bad
since-
thing about him.
Hold on a second. Let me. So
All incumbents.
So
all incumbents
who
means
wrote,
me.
So okay, hold on a second. Where can you do me a favor, Mike? If we're gonna play your game, can you do me a favor and send me those screenshots, and I'll be more than happy to put them up there.
Sure.
Okay, please. Because you know what? Other than that, it's just you just naming nonsense.
No,
as
I
you
get
would
it.
say. So again, listen. As part of the MRTC, and we just talked about it here before. If MRTC members, you don't have to agree with all the candidates, but
No,
if
I
you're
don't
an
agree with anybody
if
100% of the time, not even my family.
If you're an MRTC member, you should keep it to yourself. And I'll be in agreement with you, Mike. Me and you can find common ground right there. And again, I have offered this platform for Lou and Manny and whoever else wants to come on. And again, you're always welcome to come on to the show. You guys are more than welcome to come here next week and explain, everything that you feel has gone wrong. But listen, I look at from where it was before Elaine to where it is now. I think Elaine did a tremendous job.
Oh, yeah?
Absolutely.
Not to mention, I had
What are the victories?
I see. Again, I think you're looking at it from a victory standpoint, which is true. Whether or not but we look at
She gave away a
we
state
look-
central seat.
No, hold on a second. She didn't give away anything. State Central.
Who called for the ballot? Who called for the private ballot?
They all did. And actually,
No,
hold on
they
a second.
didn't.
Hold on
All
a second.
didn't.
Hold on a
They
second.
all did
Hold on
not.
a second. Hold on a second. That was actually a request from Doug, the chairman of the Cheshire committee, because they had two different Cheshire people running. They had three Cheshire people running, and he didn't want their party, who is just regrowing themselves, to have to sit there and vote against one another. That's why see, and you're listening to the garbage that Manny Santos and them are bitching about. It wasn't Elaine Carey.
I don't listen to Manny. I don't listen to
Obviously,
Manny.
you are.
I barely talk to Manny.
But again, why wouldn't you come and ask that question instead of just making an accusation that she gave it away? She didn't give it away. The fact is that the Cheshire people wanted to have a paper ballot so they didn't have to vote against their own, and they didn't want it to cause conflict within the party. That's why it was done the way it was. And again, even if we look at the votes, Manny still wouldn't have won either way to Sunday. Which way to Sunday? He wouldn't have won. He didn't get anywhere close to enough ballots. But yet it is he
Right,
who is
because
now going through all the different...
Meriden people didn't vote for him.
No, some of them did.
there were 20 votes. You had to get 20 at least. There were 20 votes to get. He got 5. There were only 9 delegates from Meriden. So even if 9 delegates voted
He
for
still
him,
lost.
he
So,
still
so
lost.
where's the unity?
But again,
You're screaming about unity.
Whoa.
Where's the unity?
Hold on a second. Hold on.
He should have got
Hold on a
9,
second. Hold on
at
a second.
least.
Why? Because he's from Meriden?
Well, you guys are the ones saying
Whoa,
that.
whoa.
If you're part of the party, you
No.
should be.
Okay, Grant, you're right. If you're part of the party,
Okay.
if you're part of the party at MRTC, you can sit there.
And you're a delegate, and you don't vote for a Meriden.
Why would you?
person?
Why? When there are others that are better?
But you're the one who just said.
No. I said, listen, you can sit there, but this is something totally different. You're talking about State Central.
No,
That has nothing
Joe.
to do with it.
No, Joe. You said if you were part of the MRT, you would always vote for a Republican.
No,
but you're not,
no,
so
that
you
is.
can do whatever you want.
Whoa! Wait a minute. That
Right?
is not
You
what I
just
said.
said that.
No, I did not. In fact, you should definitely get some hearing aids. That is not what I said. Let me repeat what I said, just so you understand it totally clear. I said, if you are on a ticket or you are an MRTC member and you do not agree with someone on the ticket, don't say anything. Shut up. You can disagree all you want, but you have a responsibility to shut up and not sit there and speak badly of any candidate if you are on the MRTC. Don't try to twist what I just said. So you need to really start paying attention when people talk. And when I said State Central is a totally different animal, just because you're from Meriden doesn't mean you are obligated to have the Republican vote. That is bullshit. No, there were better.
Why would you give that away as a party?
they're better candidates. Again, and even if every Republican...
You don't even know them.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding? Hold on a second. I don't know Faith and Pam. Are you friggin' kidding me? Pam ran my friggin' campaign for the Senate race. She ran friggin' Len Suzio's campaign for every time he ran for office. Are you kidding? We don't know who they are? Faith, who was on the Board of Ed over at Cheshire, she was instrumental in helping Republicans in Cheshire run. What do you mean we didn't know who these people were? Of course we knew who these people were.
Can I also say one more thing? On State Central, the delegates reached out to, the candidates reached out to the delegates. We actually met them. We actually met them. The only delegate that did not come to us and meet with us was Manny.
Listen, I know most people want to try to blame Elaine and what happened with
Far
State
be it
Central.
for me to defend Manny because I don't agree with him on a lot
Then
of
what
things.
the fuck are we talking about here, Mike? Then what are we talking about? You're sitting here telling us that we
You're
needed...
talking about unity, right?
Listen, unity...
That's why
hold on a
everybody
second.
resigned, because there's no unity.
Hold on a second. Unity, I think when we're talking about unity in the MRTC, yes, we're talking about candidates within the party that is running for city spots, yes. But you're talking about State Central, that is 4 different towns. You're talking oranges
They're
and
talking
apples.
about the MRTC and unity. Where was the unity?
Because because he's not a good candidate, and they just didn't vote for him. That has nothing to do with unity. Just because...
Wait, Mike, you say that we should be unity? Why didn't you vote for Court Horrigan when we all put him up for mayor? You voted for Kevin.
Because I didn't think he was a good candidate.
Where's your unity?
I didn't think he was
All
a
right,
good
so
candidate.
there you go.
But
There you go,
can
Mike.
have your own opinion, but nobody else can.
There you go, Mike.
Why was he the only option?
You just hold on a second. Let's hold on a second. Let's circle
You're
back.
talking about a
Let's
vote,
talk about-
and if you want to get technical, he was never voted on as a candidate. He was voted on as a placeholder. You just told him he can run.
Of course,
he
can
should have
run.
been voted
Well,
on again.
Hold on.
I did not tell him that he could run. Here, go ahead, tell him.
That was Lou Arado. Lou Arado, during the executive board, turned to me and said,
It
"Kurt,
should have
you
been
wanna stay in
another
the race
vote."
for
It's-
till the end." And I said, "Yes, I'll do it." So I was no longer a placeholder. I was in it to win it.
So let's talk about the rules, because again, I'm thinking if someone doesn't understand what the rules are for when there is candidates selected. So
It was clearly
hold on a
made,
second. So
informational was clearly made that he was a placeholder, hoping that Len Suzio was going to be
Correct.
able to run for mayor.
correct. Now
That
see,
was
now
the
again,
vote.
now here was the
And I voted against it.
So here again, here was the original plan, and I think this is some things that most people don't understand, and I think this is what I went and talked about while I went to the meeting. Kurt, what was understanding is that Kevin Scarpati had not gotten the endorsement from the Democrats, which is very unusual because usually he gets it back in February, March area, so he doesn't have to worry about it. Now we were talking July, and he hadn't gotten the nomination yet. So, and there was obviously a lot of talk about people like Kim Fisher being put up there or someone else, because Sonia Jelks doesn't like Kevin Scarpati. That's not a big secret. So,
No.
and then so Len Suzio had stepped up and said, you know what? If Kevin doesn't get the nomination, I'm interested in running. If it was going to be a 3-party split, if it was going to be a 3-way race, then Len Suzio was going to step up. Now, Democrats weren't going to vote for their candidate for another 2 days after Republicans had theirs. So it was said, okay, Kurt put his name forward to be a placeholder. You guys should have all came on board with that, knowing again.
Why?
No one said that Kevin wasn't going to get the nomination. We simply said, or not me, but the board simply said, no, because listen, this was put up before the executive board, and the whole executive board agreed with this. All right, so this wasn't me, but this was if Kevin got the nomination, then after that, then the Republicans would turn back. Kurt would sit there and resign from that spot, vacate that spot, and then we could have put Kevin up there and taken Kevin out of the picture. That was the original plan, as I know it from, again, every Republican that was on that was there. That was the original plan. Now, it was Lou that turned around and told Kurt, no, you should run, because they didn't want Kevin to run. And I know why, and I know exactly why, because Manny Santos, I'm sure, turned around, as he does it every year. Because listen, I was on board with you, Mike. I said the same thing, and I've sat there before in the same position and said we should just get the mayor out of the way and sit there and endorse Kevin. That was my position for years, and it probably still would be in the future, because I think getting the council is important. But here's the thing that you're missing, is that was the original plan. But after Kevin didn't get it, and and Suzio said, no, we're not doing this, then Lou is the one that turned around the curtain and said, no, you should stay on. Because I'm sure him and Manny got together, and Manny was absolutely, as he is every 2 years, absolutely under no circumstances can you sit there and endorse Kevin Scarpati. So that was the original plan. So again, that's not.
It still should have came to another vote.
But that's not the way it works.
If it's Lou's fault,
it's not the way it works, though.
That's Lou's fault.
But that's not the way it works. It's a vacancy committee, which is made up of the executive board.
No, I know.
And
I was kicked off of the executive board as soon as she took control.
Well, but why?
Without even being told.
But why would you get mad at her? Hold on. Why would you get mad at her from the moment she took over executive board? You got mad at her. That doesn't seem like giving anyone a chance, Mike. Hold on a second. You seem very.
I'm angry at her because she doesn't learn anything. She has the inability to listen and learn.
Learn what?
It's her way or the highway.
Learn
for
what?
Everything.
Learn what? Like what? Give me an instance.
Anything.
What? Give me one.
Being able to endorse Kevin Scarpati. Being able to have a minimal menu at a daffodil festival so we make more money.
But again, you lost. But again, hold on. Wait a minute.
Joe, you asked me a question, I'm answering.
Hold on. The Daffodil Festival, she raised the most money that we've ever raised.
No, she didn't. You say that, but that's not true.
Go ahead.
Absolutely. You can ask Al Pranovo. We raised $8,600.
It's not true.
$8,600 in profit isn't the most we've done?
No, it's not.
True.
What is?
It is.
We did over 12 my first year.
12?
And I wasn't even in control of the Daffodil Festival at that point.
That was gross, not profit.
You got to work out. No, that's profit.
You're going to have to send me that, Mike, because no one else has seen those numbers.
Al Pranovo said it was.
You know what? You asked her at 10 a.m. on election day. She said it's the greatest voter turnout of all time.
Okay.
She screamed that across the parking lot to me and Dan.
It
wasn't.
True, and I got
it wasn't even close.
But who gives a shit, though?
Okay, at 10
Hold on a second.
You can't trust the thing that comes out of her mouth.
Hold on a second. Oh, you can't trust her now?
Wait, so
Mike, I gotta sit there and say this. I gotta sit here and say it. That's pretty funny coming from you, who turned around and told everyone that you were going to be voting against the public health crisis, the racism.
Oh, here we go. A vote 3 years ago.
Mike, that's a big vote.
I gave him one because I wasn't going to say there's no racism in America. You fucking stupid.
What are you talking about? No one said that. Racism is a public health crisis.
What it said.
The leading cause of death.
Thing said. I wasn't going to say it.
The leading cause of death to black people in America is the police.
There was a lot of parts to it,
Mike.
Joe,
we read every single.
You still don't understand anything.
Oh, we don't understand. It is us, even though you said, and again, Dan Burnett said the same thing.
You also said that you were not going to do how you believe, right? So I voted how I believe. Leave me alone about it. It was 3 years ago.
That's a huge vote. That is nothing of Republican values there. And again, we went through the whole thing. You tell me one part of that, Mike.
Republican values.
You tell me one thing, Mike. You tell me one thing that you agreed. What did you agree on with that? In that.
I wasn't going to say that there wasn't racism in America.
That's not anything of what it said. That's not what it said.
That is totally part of it.
No, it is not what it said. It had nothing to do with it. It said that it was a leading cause of death to black men in America was the police department. Really, Mike? Really? Racism is the leading cause of poverty in America. There's more poor
Good
families.
God, Joe. Get over it. Build a bridge and get over it.
Build a bridge, Mike.
In 3 years, dude.
And this is why, again, when you talk about leadership, the sad thing is you do have a leadership spot in this city, and you make Republicans look like
for it.
No, you didn't.
Other people will
just quit. You had to send.
I did. Joe. I told you
now
on
you
your
just
show.
Did. Now you just
did. I told you on your show.
Never.
Yes.
No, we never had the discussion on it. In fact, I sat here at this very table with Dan Burnett.
I told you to your face. and
with
on your
Dan
show.
Brunet.
And Mike did not show up.
And Mike, yes, and you did not show up for that meeting.
I was working.
Mike, for whatever.
Hello, just like the
the-
Saturday
I'd like to
candidate
go back
meeting,
to the-
I work every Saturday morning.
No, I don't think
I
she
don't
was
know
only
what
talking
you
about
wanted.
you.
I
No
told
one
you to
showed
change
up.
it to Sunday nights like you're supposed to do, like everybody always has done, because it's traditional, because you're supposed to be out in the neighborhood.
It was
But
always.
nope. It's got to be
been set-
Saturday morning at 8 a.m. That's great time for it.
actually a time that others had set years prior, and we've always had at 8 o'clock on
And
Sunday
I
morning.
can't go because I work Saturday morning.
Okay.
And I have made
But
that point.
Okay,
millions
so
of times.
you work that, but it's the majority. If the majority can make it at that time, that's when the meetings are.
So I think she's giving you a
Well,
pass
guess what?
on
The
that.
majority couldn't make it at that time.
Well, no, they could.
You said nobody
Mike,
showed up.
Mike, you are speaking for stuff that you know nothing about. You didn't come to one meeting, so you can't speak upon it. And as far as the population,
I told you I
coming
wasn't
out
gonna
to
make the
vote,
meeting.
That came definitely from Sue Flynn when she texted me at 10:33 to tell me that it was record vote coming out at that point. So that was correct.
Not at any of my polling stations.
Okay,
It was
so
dead.
it was overall from Sue. So I don't know what to tell you. You know what?
Listen,
You're
I think
guessing it.
let me just kind of put this into what really is going on here. Mike, you don't like Elaine, so therefore you're going to sit there and bash her. And
It's
that's
not
fine.
about
Listen,
liking or
and
not
listen,
liking. I just
and
don't
listen,
agree.
You know
And,
what?
and
I have nothing
but again,
against
what do you not agree with? That's what I don't get. I still can't get what you don't agree with. You said she has so many different levels, but you can't give me one example.
What do you mean?
Give me-
I gave you examples.
You gave
Joe.
me. You gave me.
Listen back to your own
you
show.
turn around
I'm
and-
not going to repeat myself.
You turned around and said that she didn't raise the biggest thing for the Daffodil Festival, even though according to Al
didn't, right.
Pronovost, it is. According to Al Pronovost, it is, and I think he's pretty good with the dollars and cents. But listen, Mike. Listen, like I said, next week I will open this totally up to Lou and to Manny and to Sean and anyone who wants to come on. And again, and you guys could say your side. Listen, proof is in the pudding. And again, Elaine did a tremendous job under a lot of friggin'.
Why do you use the word tremendous?
She did
she
a
did a
tremendous
job.
job. She did a tremendous job.
What are the victories?
and
What
on-
did we come out with after 2 years and $40,000?
You got.
What did we come out
okay,
with?
hold on a second, because you're sticking it. You're sticking it to. There's a lot of different things, and let me break them down, because it's not just about wins and losses in the council. Those are great to have. Don't get me wrong, and I would love to have a 12-0 council with a mayor. But she brought, again, a lot of new people to the party. She brought a lot of new workers to the party. She brought a lot of people that donated a lot of money to the party. She brought a lot to the party. Now, just because you don't agree with what
And she got
said-
upset, and they all resigned.
well, shit. After watching you guys beat on her for freaking 2.5 years,
I didn't beat on her.
no, Mike, you just told me. You
Most
just
of the-
told me. You
most
just told
of the
me.
RTC
You
did.
literally just said that from day.
Facebook.
You just turned around from day one. You just told me that you didn't like her and that you didn't need to be
Find
hearing it from
one
anybody
public
else.
thing of me not supporting her. Find
Why?
one. 'Cause
Why?
you won't find it. Because I
But
would
you're-
never publicly do
You
that.
just said, but I know, but you just said it just now. You didn't agree with her from day one. You didn't like her from
I
day
didn't
one.
agree with her, but I don't agree with a lot of people.
So what are we talking about here? Then?
Agreeing with somebody doesn't mean you don't support them
But you said
publicly.
But you're trying to say that she didn't show leadership. She showed great leadership.
Where?
Every boarding commission was filled.
She
for the
did not.
All right,
Joe.
every board and commission was filled, which again has never happened.
associate member,
So
every
again, and that's
committee
like she
member
just.
was filled. We raised a ton of money.
Again,
I'm
again,
not going to take that. I'm not going to take that away.
but again, she had a full board.
Chair, I did my job and I did it well.
Yeah, you had a full board, full associates with people waiting in the background.
And every single boarding commission.
That I think is the most. I think that's the most amazing thing is that every board and commission is filled. But Mike, I saw again. Where's the lack of leadership here? What am I not getting here? What am I missing? Other than that,
What do you mean?
what am I missing? That she doesn't have
Times
great
got tough,
leadership.
and the chairwoman left.
Well, shit. Like I said, all her allies were leaving her. Why wouldn't she leave? Why? So she could sit there and thrown to the wolves?
Nah.
Listen, people are going to leave. And you had all her workers that were sick and tired of the bullshit that those that are left were throwing at her. It was evident. If you go to any town committee meeting, it was always bickering about the most minute nonsense.
But the bickering came from the people in that room with you.
No. They came. No, listen. Just for the times I was there, you had your Shaw McDonald's, you had your Lou's, you had your Manny's, you had your Scott Berlin's.
We've always had a contingent of those, but it was more divisive this time. But it's her friend.
When?
My friend?
When did we have? When did we have that kind of divisiveness? When did we have that kind of divisiveness?
Not divisiveness, but you had a contingent of people that were always upset about things.
When? Who?
You.
Not me.
Yeah.
When?
And she came in with the same rhetoric that you did, and you lost every election you've ever been involved.
But again, I don't really care about wins and losses on elections. I stay true to who I am. That's fine. Listen, I don't really care. I don't sit there
and control and tell people how they should run.
Whoa. First of all,
you have no bearing on anybody's election whatsoever except to make them lose.
First of all, I don't sit there and dictate how anybody do anything. That's one of the great things about me.
No, you act like you know everything.
No, I know a horrible candidate when I see one.
I don't understand it.
I can sit there and see a horrible candidate when I see one. I see one. I could point out when you see corruption within the ranks. And again, and I'll sit there and I'll say there's plenty of people that's elected that is a horrible decision making. Again, Mike, how are you going to vote on Mike Cardona's $81,000 salary? So for someone who knows absolutely nothing about the position, where the average, and I had it up here, the average salary in the state of Connecticut for a city clerk is $65,000, but we're going to give him $81,000.
Do you know what his employees make?
I don't care.
And should we pay him less than what his employees make?
I don't care. It's an elected position. This is what the average is. Who gives a shit what they're making?
And also, we don't have a majority, so we have to come to a compromise. No. This
is coming from Dan Brunet. Dan Brunet is putting this out there. So wait. So
you think we don't talk about things, Joe?
So let them do it. Why is Dan doing it? Let them do it. Why are you going to put yourself out there? Why are you guys putting yourselves out there as just spending money, wasting money?
Joe, how about using your brain for a second?
Oh, please, by all means, enlighten me.
Think about why it would come from Dan and not from the Democrats.
Go ahead.
Think about it.
It makes no sense to me.
Smart.
Go ahead.
You're a smart guy. You're
Please.
a smart guy. You can figure that out.
I'm hoping you're going to enlighten me. Why would it come from?
Do you think they would just pay him what she was making?
No, she was making, what, 85, 87? Somewhere around there?
Yeah, on the
so
higher
she's making
side
85.
Of that.
She's been there 20-something years.
And
she's certified.
Do you think if we didn't try anything that they would pay him what she was being paid?
Listen, if they turn around and want to drive the car off the fucking cliff, let them do it.
Answer the question.
I don't care, Mike. You're so you're trying to tell me because they were going to offer 85, you're going to offer 81. Is that what you're saying?
There was a whole discussion.
Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying? So instead, you're going to look like the assholes. Instead of them watching them turn around and pay this guy $85,000, and you could have used that. And then you could have used it. And then Republicans are going to use it. Look, they're just wasting money.
What? Then she makes 88, or he makes 88. And what do we get from it?
Again, you get to use it. You get to use it in the next election.
I'm not going to start yelling and screaming for no reason.
Are you kidding me? That's right, because you don't care about the taxpayers' money. Because you don't care about the taxpayers' money, apparently.
I don't. You don't. You're the one who wants to pay him 88.
I don't want to pay him. Listen, I want to pay him 65. The way the average is.
You think you're going to get it? You think you're going to get it? We don't have the majority.
But again, if they're going to drive the car off the cliff,
you're ridiculous. Yelling and screaming at me doesn't make you correct. Hold on.
So you think that since they're going to drive the car off the cliff, your best bet is to get in the fucking vehicle? No, let them drive off of it. Let them drive off of it, Mike.
So you don't care about taxpayers' money. You're just going to waste it. Because you want to yell and scream. Why would you sit there and help them? You just want to yell and scream about
Mike, because it doesn't make any sense. You're putting your name on it.
We put ourselves out there. We don't have a leg to stand on still. It's 7-5.
Okay.
We're doing the best we can with the taxpayers' money. You don't seem to care about that.
Because I don't think you are. I don't see any fights going on.
Good for you.
Listen, again, and that's my opinion, Mike. And you know what? I guess we're all entitled to it, right? Just like you are.
You are.
So
but you might want to add facts to your opinion next time.
It is. To me, it shows that Republicans are spending $81,000 for a salary that, on average, is $65,000. And you try to tell me anyone that would sit there and support that and not look at that and say, "Huh, Republicans don't give a shit."
Yeah,
that's how it looks. Now, you may not see it because
that's fine, because that's the way you're portraying it.
Because that's the way it is,
there's
Mike.
Work that goes behind the scenes.
That's
on
right.
This kind of
Hold on, Mike.
stuff.
Mike, why don't you give me your prime quote? We just don't understand, right? We just don't understand.
You don't. Joe.
Oh, okay. We don't.
I didn't
Obviously,
say-
nobody does.
I didn't say the
I haven't
average
seen. I haven't seen anybody
taxpayer. I
that
said you
supports
don't.
it. I don't see. I haven't met a Republican
You don't
yet.
represent the taxpayer. Last time I checked.
I don't see anyone that supports that. In fact, most people look at it and go, "What the hell are you guys doing?" But it's Republicans that are doing it. And that's
We're saving the taxpayers' money.
that is the perception that comes out, is that Republicans are doing this.
It's your perception.
No,
Joe.
that's a lot of
Yours.
people's perceptions. But again, Mike,
name them.
you're not
Name
going
'em, Jeff.
to see it. I can name 6 of them right in front of me that see it as a Republican thing. But again, Mike, I see that we'll just go around in circles here because we just don't understand, and we'll leave it at that because that's your famous quote for everybody. So, Mike, it was nice, pleasure talking to you. If you guys want to come on next week,
you don't understand, Joe. Don't say
you're
we.
more than welcome.
Say you.
No, I don't think anyone does, but just as long as it makes sense in your head, I guess all that matters. Sir, until next time, I will see you later. You're more than welcome to jump on and come on the show anytime you want. You're absolutely right, Amy Jo. Taxpayers will blame the Republicans because that's exactly who they're going to have to blame. Mike, the fact that you guys are that fucking stupid, the fact that you guys are that stupid that you don't see the game that's being played.
The minorities are to blame. Good one, Jeff.
Mike, you're putting it forward. You're putting it forward, man. What are you talking about?
No shit, because if we did,
Mike,
he'd be paid 88.
Mike, it's a shame. Like I said,
whatever, Joe.
Poor Area 4 this year. Poor Area 4
Everybody
is
else
just
understands
screwed.
except
No
you.
one does. Listen,
we're
Amy
all
Jo
wrong.
is a Democrat.
Listen, I'll see you from my council seat while you're
Amy Jo is a
yelling
Democrat.
at the podium.
Yeah, for you guys actually to do your fucking job for once. Please do your job.
We do
for
it all
once.
the time.
No, you don't. You don't. At least you don't do it for Republicans. You might do it for your liberal
You
friends.
should probably not have a political show since you've never held office or understand.
Oh, what?
anything
So
about
that means that we don't have an opinion on it. We're not allowed to do
No,
anything.
you can
because,
have
again,
your opinion,
Mike.
but
Mike,
don't
here it
try to
goes
act
again,
like
Mike.
an expert,
Mike,
Joe.
we just don't understand, right, buddy? All right, sir. Until next time, I'll talk to you later. So listen, this is your counselor here, people. This is why I said Area 4, I feel deeply sorry for you. You have the worst representation with having Mike Herbetta. Obviously, he doesn't have any problem spending your fucking money, and he is more than willing to do it. And Republicans are going to lead the way in giving this guy $81,000 because only in their minds does that make any amount of fucking sense. But Amy Jo, you are absolutely right. Taxpayers will blame the Republicans because they are putting the bill forward. Doesn't make any sense. This is what you guys got coming out of the town committee.
And now you see why we have dysfunction in our party.
And listen, I wish he would just be honest and just say, I just don't fucking like Elaine.
Yeah.
Call it a day. I respect that more.
Like me because I'm guilty by association.
Ah, that's right, because you're a puppet master here.
Yes.
You are my puppet.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Because I probably have talked to Mike in the 6 years I've been in the Republican Party, probably 5 times. That's it.
Yeah.
That's
Listen, Mike Herbetta, to me, again, he's the laziest person I've ever met. Again, this goes back to referendum, when he used to bitch every night, I don't want to do this no more. I don't want to do this no more. And people like you and Sharon and the rest of you guys went out there, and Tina Manley went out there and did it. And then he took all the credit for it. But again, that's what politicians do. And you're seeing the true politician come out. And it's very, very, very sad to see. And, but listen, these are the type of Republicans that will get elected because they act like Democrats. So therefore they'll be elected. And listen, if they're willing to sacrifice their values for whatever, then that's just the way it's going to be. Listen, if I was in the party, I'd make sure that, none of them would get the fucking endorsement from the Republicans. Not a single one. But we'll see what happens. so obviously we're not going to get everything done, completed tonight on things we want to talk about. But again, you know, Dan, Manny, Sean, anyone that wants to come on is more than welcome. I would love to hear the other side of this. But listen, you know, for them to turn around and for Mike to turn around, which is Rich, and say that you are the cause of the division and that your people here, the ones that are doing the work and everything, are the cause for the problems, I think it's obviously either he has amnesia, or he just hasn't been coming at all and seeing the nonsense. But I mean, for anyone to sit there and say that it's not evident what was going on there, and it just blows my mind that he's that naive. And again, this is a guy that leads, that's a leader in our government here. It's just sad. It's really pathetic, actually. And I guess and the only way you get, and the only way anyone, this goes out to anyone in the city, according to Mike Carabetta, unless you have won an election, you can't say a fucking thing. Just shut your mouth and just listen to what they have to say to you. They're going to tell you what to do. So, and you're not allowed to sit there and have an opinion. That's a Mike Rohde statement. That's a Mike Rohde statement. That's what Mike Rohde would say. Is that because, but other than that, you know, going by that, man, I guess Mike Rohde shouldn't have run again either because he lost to Manny. But that's a whole different conversation. Oh, we could have had 2 hours with me and Mike there. But this is what you're up against, and this is what you were up against.
Absolutely. Every single month. Every single month. And it wasn't just one person. It was 5, sometimes 6. It depended. It was constant.
So yeah, we're going a little long here, but that's okay because obviously we've got a ton of people. We're up over 80-something people here, so everyone obviously is still sitting there listening. So let's just kind of, what's done is done now.
Yep.
What do we do? What do you think? What happens going forward now?
As far as the MRC?
For each of you, for any of you, what do you guys? I'm going to open all the mics up, guys. So what do we do, or what do you guys do?
I personally would backed off because of this whole animosity, stupidity within the party. But I would go back in, take another shot, go back to council. Again, this is something I believe in. I was an independent for many, many years. Just said, well, I'll just go by whatever. But now, part of the Republican Party, we have unity within people who have already turned in a resignation. So that told you a lot about people themselves. And I believe that if we have that unity, we're going to move forward.
So, listen, I guess, obviously, there's a lot of anger, I think, in those that are left. I heard a lot of anger in Mike, where he just doesn't want to admit that there is a problem, because apparently he thinks that you guys are the problem, even though you guys are the ones that built it up to where it is now. So obviously he doesn't feel like there was a big problem with what was going on and what was being said. So to me, that's on him. But that being said, also, he is an elected official. How do you get around that? I mean, who do you put in place that could actually bring things around? Or is the goal, or really, is it what I've been saying sometimes, is that sometimes you need to burn the whole fucking place down and just rebuild from the beginning? I mean, do you burn the whole thing down? Do you bring somebody in who is just going to turn around and say, yeah, no, this is what we're going to do. You want leadership, bring leadership, and bring it with an iron fist, like Berlin used to do. I mean, anyone who knows Berlin politics, Ann Riley ran that thing with an iron fist. But she got proven results. And again, if for Mike, all it is about it is wins and losses, which I think is the most fucking ridiculous thing I've ever heard, is about building a party. Again, when you took over, we didn't have a full party plus a full associate, plus a full, plus people on the back burner, plus you had every commission filled. You had nowhere near that.
And money in the bank.
And money in the bank. So it's like, I listen, if that's not leadership, someone's got to explain to me what it is, because I think that is totally what leadership's all about. You were able to bring in so many different people, and not just people coming here for a social event, but you brought in workers, which is always the key to any political party. You need to bring in people that are willing to work and not just sit around and do nothing.
And full slate. Maybe if we were a little more unified, maybe we would have been.
Listen, I think if you had people that, again, were all willing to work together, you probably could have picked up some votes in Area 3. You probably could have picked up some votes in Area 4. You probably could have picked those seats up. Did Mike volunteer to have anybody walk with him? No. We talk about, we could sit here and talk about, who's the fault, this and that, but to sit there and say that somehow someone who did all this for the party is the problem, I think is either naive to the fact, or just has a hatred for a certain person that he's blinded by it. I'm going to take probably the latter of the two is what's going on here. But I do want to see the party move forward. I do want to see Republicans gaining seats. So the question is, how do you do that? And can you do that? Do you think you could do that under the current now leadership? I don't see how. I don't see how Lou, Sean, Manny. First of all, I think Manny is the ringleader of that little group there. And listen, Manny had an opportunity, and this is, again, nothing I haven't already said. Manny had an opportunity when he got elected as mayor, as a placeholder, by the way. So he got elected, but he decided that he was going to be more of an ass, and he was just going to, it was my way or the highway when you went up against a 7-5, and he didn't want to work with anybody. And then on top of it, he backstabbed Kevin Scarpati, which, if we look at Kevin Scarpati, we created that monster. Really, Manny created that monster. Who knows where Republicans could have been right now if Manny had just given the deputy mayorship to Kevin and called it a day. He might have still been in as mayor right now. I guess we'll never know. But I didn't see anyone calling for his bad leadership. But somehow, doing all the right things, somehow you're bad for the party. Or is it maybe that they just didn't have the power anymore? They didn't have the influence anymore. They couldn't just dictate how things went anymore. That's what they really got pissed about. I'm a betting man, and I'm betting that is the issue. And the fact, I guess, any association with me, even though, again, to this day, I have never, ever sat there and told anybody how to vote or how to do anything. I will sit there and give my opinion, and that's it. I will sit there and give advice, which, again, you didn't freaking take it anyways. So I just find this all very, very rich. And I'm actually surprised it was Mike that actually was the one to call in tonight. So, and to sit there and say that we don't understand that, because the Democrats are going to offer him $85,000. No, we're going to offer him $81,000. You should be happy with that. Someone's going to have to try to explain it, because you know what, Mike? I'm still thinking about it because you told me to think about it. I'm still trying to think about it, and I still don't get where the fuck you're coming from with it, because it still doesn't make any sense to me. I'm not going to pay you 85. I'm going to pay you 81, and it's going to come from us, Republicans, our fiscally conservative Republican Party, where the average salary is $65,000, but we're going to pay you $81,000 because we're trying to play a good ball here. Obviously, if the Democrats were happy with $81,000, why wouldn't they just go to 85 and you turn around and go to 81? At least then they would have put it forward. So, Mike, I'm just trying to help you out here, buddy. Just trying to help you out there, pal. That's my job. Trying to help you out. So, but apparently we don't know any better. So, and you guys have made up your mind on what you're going to do, and that's how it's going to happen. So, guys, any last words? Hold on. Go ahead.
Definitely take this to the bank, Mike. The city clerk in Wallingford was up for grabs, $60,000. So they hired someone. She had credentials, so they gave her $2,000 raise. So she's only making $62,000 with credentials. And you're going to vote for someone for $81,000? Get a job.
So apparently Dan Brunet's trying to call in here, but I don't have anything on there. So if Dan wants to call in, he's more than welcome to call on. 203-805-2520. I'm more than willing to sit there and have him explain this to me. I would love to hear it. So I would love to hear it. So please, by all means, go ahead. Well, I don't see anything coming through. So we're going to give it a couple more minutes because I want to hear what Dan Brunet has to say. I always want to hear what our minority leader has to say. So I'll give it a couple more minutes. You can call back, 203-805-2520. But listen, again, I hope the party finds their way. I'm sure they will. I'm sure. And listen, it's not the first time. Phone's not ringing, people. So if the phone was ringing, it'll be coming through. But I don't have anyone calling through. So I will sit here and continue to hold my phone until it rings. So by all means, it's still waiting. But listen, the party's been here before. So, again, this is how I see this. I look at this. This is like another We the People moment. This is kind of how We the People started. You just had a party that had a ton of differences, and they just ended up splitting their own ways. Now, again, trust me, I know Bob Williams is salivating over this. What was that?
Bob Williams already called me the night after I gave my resignation in. He said, I am welcome to come over there anytime. He's looking forward to it.
Of course he would be.
He sent me a text that night, 10 minutes after I got home, invited me.
Yeah, listen, he'd be crazy not to.
Right.
Be crazy not to. So the question is, what's the future for all the people who resigned? So I guess the question is, would you go back if you had the right leadership? Let's start with Norberto. If you had the right leadership, would you go back?
If we had the right leadership, definitely. I like being in with the MRTC. We just need good leadership. That's all. And
Ed,
she was very good leadership. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, absolutely. I gave my resignation as secretary because Elaine stepped down. I enjoyed working for her, and I saw things going on that were definitely moving the party forward, but we had people that were trying to drag us backwards. And if those people move on or get removed, then I think we would really succeed and go further. She had to spend at least 20 to 30% of her time defending herself from these people, which took away from more positive things that she could have done.
Elaine?
Yeah, I would go back. I would go back without the bad apples.
Kurt?
Yes, absolutely. Go back. I don't want any drama. I want to be around positive people that are all contributing.
Carl?
I kind of stepped away, but I was still involved with the town committee. But somebody makes a phone call and needs my help, I'll support a good Republican candidate. They'll still have access to our lawn. We have a pretty good sized lawn signs. But it's being part on the town committee. No, I'm not going to go back. I says, but I will support good candidates.
Finally retiring, huh? officially retired. Happy retirement already. And now officially retiring from politics too. You know what? You'll add a couple of years to your life, and Christine will love you more for it too. And then we got Dan.
The only way I go back is Elaine came back as chair. My bottom line is, for what she did, a lot of people don't even know. I mean, running the RTC, regular executive meetings and trying to run as a candidate, kudos 100%. And run her also her own business too. And it's something that I would definitely look forward to. Let's get rid of the dead wood and bring in the live wood.
Listen, I thank you guys all for coming. Listen, this is a little surprise for myself also with everybody going to be here tonight. But listen, it's like I said, families argue. Obviously, you sometimes you got to cut people away that I think is detrimental to either the party or to the cause. And listen, somehow I still live rent free in a lot of their heads. Somehow this is somewhat my fault, and if you are associated with me or friends with me, therefore you're all guilty by association. I don't get it. Listen, I'll never ever sit here and tell people what to do, what not to do. I will give my opinion. It's something I do on a regular basis, and I will continue to do. But most importantly, what we're here to do is inform the people. And like I said, when I started the show, we talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. This happens to be an ugly mark on the Republican Party. There's no two ways about that. And I said that Wednesday morning when me, Elaine, and Kurt spoke, and I said, we should really look at it a different way. You guys should look at it a different way. Again, you see how that played out for me. But again. The whole part is making sure you have good leadership to bring it forward. But on top of it, it's about holding even your elected officials accountable. And that's something I guess people like Mike Carabetta don't want to hear, is that you may not agree with what I'm saying. Oh, hold on, Dan's calling. Hold on, Dan. Dan, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right, Dan. All right, we have Dan Brunet on the line. So, Dan, Mike tried to explain to me that Democrats wanted to give $85,000. So we're going to offer him $81,000 when the average salary in the state of Connecticut for a city clerk is $65,000. That I'm supposed to be happy with that. Can you explain how that plays out?
Well, several factors in that is actually it's about $80,000 for cities of our actual population, rather than some of the communities that are like 10 and 15,000.
So the average 20
that took place in 2019. That fact that I had, it was actually back in the escape era, and the highest paid people in her department make $75,000 plus overtime.
But they've been there for how long though?
Some of the other things.
But how long have they been there? And they have experience.
I mean, if you're a manager in any specific area or degree, you're a department head, you don't make less than the actual people that are unionized in your area. So there were some of the other.
But this is an elected position.
That are correct.
This is an elected position. So I'm going to pull it up here.
Oh,
that's not what I was looking for.
It's $39 an hour. Okay, let's put that into perspective. So, I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, it's not some egregious thing. For one thing, if you want to tackle something, you go after a union of 400 people that are making X amount of money. Those are the things that, we have issues with in contract negotiations, whether it's 2.5% or 2.25%. Some people think it doesn't make a big difference, but 1/4% over the parameters of that magnitude equals a lot of money. So, I mean, that's where it is.
But why is this coming from Republicans?
Going 81 because Cardona is like royalty in Meriden. That's the only reason she had won against Grandy.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. But why is this coming from Republicans?
That's unquestionable.
So why is this coming from Republicans? Why is this salary coming from the Republican side and not from the Democrat side?
That I do not know. I only agreed to it.
But,
so I could say I don't even know where coming up with that.
But the resolution is coming from you. So why don't you just let the Democrats
put it
forward?
They wanted 85, and I said reasonable was 5% reduction from what Grandy had. Grandy had reduced to 73,000 in 2015.
So why wouldn't we start
put it
there?
in perspective, from 75,000 from 2015 to 2023, 8 years later, it was right around 80,000.
So-
So whatever, it sounded reasonable.
So why would Republicans stand at 73? Let me even step back.
73. What the hell are you gonna?
Let me even go there. Let me go 75.
The minimum wage is 55,000 now, I think.
So okay, 75. It's an elected position. He knew what he was getting. It's not like he didn't volunteer for it. So again, to me, I don't care what
he didn't.
I don't care what they make, what the employees make. That has no bearing on anything here because this is an elected position.
No, it doesn't.
So why aren't we set it at 75,000? That's above the average, which is 67. I have it up on the screen now. 67,570, and the highest paid city clerk in the state is from Norwalk, which is a little bit bigger than we are, and they make 91,000.
Mm-hmm.
So again, the numbers are up here, and this is straight from the state of Connecticut. So why are we giving him $81,000 and it's coming from the Republican side? Why don't you let the Democrats hang themselves instead of us sitting there trying to help them out by putting it forward ourselves? So again, Mike told me that I should be happy with 81,000 instead of 85, where I say Republicans should be fighting for 75 and make it look like we're actually doing something.
Yeah, it's a good question. There's no question about that. But I'm trying to be in the age of reason. I'm in management myself, and I see where things play out. And 81 was, I think, was comparable in what we should be doing at this stage. When I'm looking at what they make as far as, the people that report to that individual.
But again, that doesn't have any bearing on it.
And I'm looking, I go, it's going to take them 2 and 3 years just to get to 85.
But it does that. But
So
again,
it's gonna be 2026.
but again, people are going.
2026. The way we have UAW workers that are making engineering pay at this day and age. It's just like insane. Way everything transpires.
Again, this doesn't make.
I get it.
Doesn't make any fiscal
completely
sense.
get what you're saying.
But again, so
I
what do we do
completely get
about
what
it?
you're saying.
Can we still turn around and say 75,000 and make them again fight for it? Again, and this is what I don't get, Dan, is that we have to have someone who's going to be fighting for us, not just these backroom deals. They want 85, we're going to give them 81. We're going to sit there and do it. Why don't we do our jobs and act like fiscal conservative Republicans and be like, no, this isn't going to stand. The average is 67,000. He has no experience, no credentials.
Compromise in the middle. It's compromise in the middle, where it's like your town committee stuff that you're talking about tonight. There ain't no compromise in the middle. I mean, there's no individuals that are like, I was a chairman for 8 years. I never had any issues that we were talking about tonight. I've never had this and that. I did not go after petty nonsense that would be divisive.
Right,
I mean,
but
I've done that. I was listening to that conversation tonight. It just beholded me.
But you see,
like,
you were at the council. You're at
I'm
those
flipping
meetings.
the hat from city council to city chairman. And I mean, you do not take people that are appointed positions just for first of all, you have to have like 2 years where you like transition into a period. You earn your stripes. You do not simply get them because you're a chairman. And I was listening to some, I go, what the hell? And everybody in the room is like 2-year people. Why did any one of those not come to myself or others? Not to, I would say to a guy Beeman or myself, people before Sean, and ask about, what do you do, man, to make people inclusive? Guy Beeman, for whatever it was relatively inclusive. We did not, we weren't happy with his results. We were this and that. I was 8 years prior. I had individuals that were the Anna Newman, the Len Suzio crowd. They were just totally like, it's like, in a room that, we don't like that.
Listen, you're not going to get any. You're not going to get any disagreements with me and like Anna Newman or something because you obviously we've lived through those battles already.
It was just like,
so, but
in
again,
4 years I was this and that. That's why I don't understand how that group tonight. I'm listening to them. I'm looking at them and go, what? You haven't even been there 2 years. You've been, the whole divisive thing is all about being inclusive at the beginning. And it's divisive later. I mean, it's politics. This isn't,
there's a difference. But I think we're missing a big point here, though.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
had- you
Let's
had-
get back to freaking money. Let's get
Well,
back to money.
not even about the money. Not even about the money. Listen, you had a group of people that were very pissed off that a certain administration was. Let's just put it out there. Sean was thrown out, and they didn't like that. They didn't like the fact that they lost their power. Now, again, you know, be it as it may, you know, as a chairperson, as a former chairperson, that you do what you can to bring the party together. But if you have individuals, and I'll say it, Lou, Manny, you know, Steve, Scott Berlin, Sean McDonald, you know, those people who sit there and want to bicker over the littlest things every single committee meeting. I mean, come on. That's just ridiculous. And so at some point you have to put your foot down and be like, you know what, enough with the bullshit. And we're not doing that anymore. And again, and the proof is in the pudding. We never had every board and commission filled. We never had a full committee, a full 40 members, plus a full 10 on the associates, plus people waiting in line. We never had so much money in our coffers from people that came in that wanted to do the work. We never had any of that. But yet still, you still had that group of 10 to 15 that really just didn't want her to have any success. And I think that is unmistakable. It's undeniable. And it finally boiled over.
Mm. Well, I will only say that, you know, as I went back into saying that, you know, when you gravitate into the position, like you're on the city council, the first 2 years, you're not going to be this, that, and the other. It's going to be, you're not going to do well, put it that way.
But she did do well.
There, every individual you had talked about was like a benign appointment in my mind anyways.
Like
when
who?
you have a benign appointment, you just go with the flow. That's the way it works in politics. You just say, I want to make change, and I think everything should be new. Unfortunately,
What?
it doesn't work that way. If you act as an individual.
Oh, okay. All right. Hold on.
Well, let's go down that path. Okay?
You perked my interest with what you just said.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, hold on.
You do not make change for the sake of change because of your own thing. If you want to be successful in the long run, that's the way that works from your first 2 years. You want to come in there and make balls of fire. You better be well aware that balls of fire are in the air.
Well,
whether it's wrong or right, it's not my point. I'm just telling you the way politics works.
If we're talking about, if we're talking about Elaine coming in with
you can't go in there as Elaine and just say, I want all these people out. I'm putting all my friends in, and it's going to work.
Hold on a second. Who did she take out? She left everybody that was in it. Sean McDonald still stayed on the executive board.
Frankly, I don't know anything about it.
But then why are you commenting on it then? Then why would you make a comment like that?
Because I'm just looking at the facts afterwards.
That's not the facts.
Looking at the facts afterwards.
Whoa, that's not the facts. The facts was she came into a hostile environment.
The facts are what they are.
Exactly. She came into a hostile environment to people who didn't like their power being taken, and she turned around and she stood her ground. Maybe that's what people didn't like. And if people didn't like that, well, then tough shit for them, right, Dan? Dan, let me ask you this question. You go in,
but that's not being a chairman.
Whoa, wait a minute.
That's not being a chairman.
What's being a chairman? Just kowtowing to what they want to the people.
Gravitating towards the individuals is in any. You can be in leadership in a corporation.
Those individuals want nothing to do.
Somebody's not freaking experienced in being in a corporation in a big environment. It may not be beneficial.
What?
If you're in a small group where you have a dictatorship.
Hold on a second. She was in a dictatorship.
I understand what you're saying, dude.
She was in a dictatorship. Everything came out of the executive committee, which has Sean and Lou and Manny and the rest of them on it. What are we talking about here?
I don't know about that.
But Dan, then why are you saying that then? Then why are you saying that?
No, I'm just saying about appointments. I've been very about when your appointments going into a thing. You can talk to any chairman.
Are we talking about the constable?
Any individual.
Are we talking about constable?
Yeah, whoever she took out. And
so what? That's her right.
Created turmoil. Some meeting was that.
That's her right,
don't
though.
Do that.
Wait a minute. They took. Let me ask you this, Dan.
That's the way it goes.
Dan, did I bitch and complain when I was taken out of mine? Not knowing? I didn't bitch. I don't care. It's the right of the chairperson. That is their right. And listen, and at the same time, these are the same people that are bashing her every single month. Would you have not have done the same thing? And said, you know what, let's go screw this girl. So again, Dan, I respect you because you know what? I'll give you this. At least you come on and you can have a reasonable conversation. So I get that. But right now, everything you said so far is from not knowing what you're talking about. And I don't know how you can say that stuff when this is everything Elaine has done. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know if people expected her to just walk in and sit there and take the abuse from certain individuals. That's just not going to happen. And no leader's going to allow that to happen. Let's say you, in your former job before, when you had employees, are you going to let them dictate how you run things? Because they're going to throw you attitudes? No, that's not good leadership. You're not going to sit there and take that. You're never going to take that.
There's an effect where you blend into that. There's things that you have to do to take place. You recognize it. If you see an individual, there's a way of approaching that individual. It's not going to happen.
And which has been
they're
done.
Still not going to be happy.
But they're not going to be happy. So again,
I mean, there's a lot of different things.
So again,
you never blindside a person. Rule 1.
So again,
I'll call you that.
So again,
no matter where you are.
At what point do you turn around and say enough is enough? When would have been a point for you to say enough is enough?
Oh, I don't know. I'm just trying to explain the rules of engagement, not how it was executed.
No. Listen, I get it, but again,
from my perspective as a chairman.
Oh no, don't get me wrong. And I love hearing and having these perspectives. At least you can sit here and have an intelligent conversation. Unlike, unfortunately, your partner, Mike Carabetta, because he just doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. And again, but it's sad though that unfortunately certain parts of this conversation, you don't have all the information either, which again is probably because they don't want you having that information. But that's why I'm glad we could have this discussion and I can explain it to you, because at some point you have to understand that enough is enough and you're not going to tolerate it anymore. And coming in as chair, yes, when you have people that are trying to work actively to go against you at every turn, there is no way in hell anyone is going to sit there, especially a good leader, going to allow for that kind of interruptions, that kind of turmoil going on in the party. Now, if they want to continue to do that, that's all fine and dandy. We've seen how that turned out, Dan. We almost lost the party 2 years ago with Sean. So, again, unfortunately, some of the things you said just you're totally wrong on, because you just don't have the information, which I'm glad you could actually admit, though, that you don't have that information. So I would just suggest just don't say anything at all, because, again, being as a leader in the party, being a leader in the city, we should know our facts before we sit there and speak. And, again, which is why there's a lot of things I'd love to say on the show that I don't have 100% facts that is true. So therefore, I don't say it. A lot of people reach out to me and say, hey, this is going on, this is going on. Well, show me facts and I'll sit there and I'll look into it. I would love to say a lot of things, but I do know there's a lot of corruption going on in the city. I know that the Board of Ed, nobody is still given an explanation on why we let 2 people resign and grab pensions when they're supposedly under investigation for theft. Still, no one wants to talk about it. But yeah, if you talk about it because Republicans did it, somehow you're the bad guy. It just doesn't make any sense to me. It's like the council still doesn't want to know anything. Have you looked into that? Why we have a plumber who was buying residential supplies on a city account and then going missing for hours on end, and his work is not getting completed? And still, Robbie turned around and says, give me 2 weeks. We know about it. And then hides behind lawyers. You guys are held to a higher standard. Republicans in the MRTC, Republicans in the city demand that our elected officials be held to a higher standard and do the best job for them. And again, so we go back to the city clerk salary, where I had it up on the screen. $67,570 is the average. That's the 25 to 75% range. But yet we're going in with 81,000. And Mike's explanation is, well, they want 85, so we're giving them 81. We should be happy with that. We should just shut up and go away. But you just told me that 75,000 should have been the starting mark. So why are Republicans fighting for that?
No.
Why are we not
No, I didn't
showing?
say that.
So why aren't we showing the people? Why are we not giving people a reason to vote Republicans? We're here fighting for you. But they don't see that, Dan. And that's always been my argument.
Well,
It's always been my argument because
obviously, going a couple $1,000 here and there. I mean, it's all like
it's the perception, Dan.
sense where we have to friggin' do this and that. But some of the other things you said, I find, about from party politics and things of that nature, it's a difficult thing. You have to navigate the group that you have with, and I don't think Elaine did that in an appropriate manner, whether she's listening or not. She did not come to individuals. I will say she was very dismissive of myself, which I found kind of odd. Wouldn't you want the highest ranking Republican in the city, the guy, the former chairman, like, what the frick should I do, man?
She
was
was
like,
dismissive of
do
you?
this and that. She was like it was a cliquish environment. It's not successful. And when you're only in there 2 years, you don't even get it. The first 2 years should be just like a learning experience. And then you go on. And I will say that I don't care if you're in management, in any corporation, any company, you just don't go in there balls to the wall with your clique.
You don't go in balls to the wall with your clique?
Correct. And when I say that is only because all the people that she
give me an example, Dan.
Give me an example. Okay, all the appointments that were dismissed for no apparent reason.
Like what? Like whose?
We felt it should be new.
Like whose?
The
There's only two.
The constables were the one. No, the constables were key to a lot of different things.
Okay, but Dan,
because these guys were there. There were this protocol. You want it again, you get it again.
Whoa. No.
I'm changing it to all. And these people were individuals that they're.
Wait a minute.
They earn their stripes.
Wait a minute, Dan.
You earn your stripes.
Dan, why did I get it back? Why did I get it back?
I've been there freaking 15 years. I got my stripes.
Dan, why did I get it back?
He was there for 4 years. He got his stripes. He's my friend, so he's going to get it.
Dan, why didn't I get mine?
Politics, it doesn't work well.
Dan, why didn't I get mine?
You've been there forever.
Dan,
You've been there as long as I know.
Dan,
I've been hearing you in my ear for at least 20 years.
Dan, I was accountable. I didn't get an option to keep mine. Did you hear me bitch about it?
What?
I was accountable before both of them. I didn't get a call. Hey, Joe, do you want to keep it? Yeah, I didn't bitch about it, Dan. Are you kidding me?
It's a shitty job anyways. They make no money.
Is this what we're talking about, Dan?
No.
I mean, come on. If that is all they got and why she wasn't working.
I am only talking about the individuals that were, it became just
so you're listening to the same people that.
This individual, that one. Okay, Manny Santos. You seem to like to talk about the guy. The guy, obviously, he's gone. We have a long history. I mean, I got the guy elected in 2013 when I was chairman. I did this and that. We had the PLA and all that. And he went rogue.
Oh, definitely. Listen, we talked about that just a little while ago. Listen, I think he set Republicans back, no doubt. The way he went in, he definitely sent Republicans back. He had an opportunity and he squandered it. Definitely, no doubt about it. But let's get back to what you just said, though, because again,
he was. I will say it was comparable to other things because he was randomly taking people out of appointments for no apparent reason.
Yes.
And I was saying, like, why? I kept going, it's going to cost you 15 votes.
Sure.
It's going to cost you 15 votes.
Sure.
I mean, it's like a person on a freaking conservation commission that you don't like because they said
but
they
Elaine
didn't
do
shake hands with you or something. It's like, what?
Well, I know we're not comparing.
We're not do that, man.
We're not comparing
it's
Elaine
politics.
to that. Elaine didn't do that, though.
I know. I have
now
no
you're
idea.
you're talking about again, and the only gripe you could come at for Constable, but again, the same thing wasn't. I mean, Sean didn't do that to me. Sean didn't give me the option to stay on. So I mean, again, but you just didn't hear me bitch and cry about it because at the end of the day, I understand, and Manny understands, and Scott understands that is chairman. That is a thank you for the chairman to her people that supported her. Just like the president does with ambassadorships all over the world. You know, his top donors get cushioned ambassadorships all over the world. That's
Well, that's why the first 2 years.
If that's the best they got, but if that's the best they got, that's pretty sad. It's a pretty weak argument for sitting there saying that someone's being a dictator or intolerant.
It's an argument for what I said about you freaking gravitate towards a position, you get your first 2 years, you get your feet on the ground, you see where you don't do anything.
But why would you? But again,
obviously you do. You do your fundraising, you make yourself this and that, but you don't make freaking gravitational moves.
So you're trying to tell me that people that have been actively working against you and actively being decisive to you, you would turn around and continue to give them their spots? Come on, you're gonna tell them to fuck off.
Not the haters. My first 2 years.
Why not?
No.
Oh, without a doubt.
Well, I had them. I had Anna Newman. I had a whole group of them that were just like venomous against me. They thought I was like this moderate Republican maniacal, this and that. I go, not really, but whatever. But yeah, I went through that process. But I mean, at the very beginning, it was difficult. I was not on the city council.
But like I said, Sean McDonald did that.
I believe it was I think it was 12-0 back in 2007 or whatever the hell it was. But yeah.
Sean McDonald,
Sean McDonald is recent.
But Sean
McDonald, whatever.
He didn't give me or Devin the courtesy of a call to see if we still wanted it. So should I?
I'm not. Really
and that was right off the bat. So does that mean I should be like anti? So I should have been at his throat right away? Yeah, that argument doesn't make any sense.
No.
Listen,
no,
everyone knows everyone knows what that appointment is for. Everyone knows what that appointment is for.
I saw Jen's kiss today. And we were talking, and I said, hey, "What the heck?" And he said he didn't quite understand everything, and he was like part of the process. And I said, I didn't get it either because a lot of folks were relatively new, and you get quite emotional. Obviously, there's an emotional thing, especially after elections.
Yes.
There's a whole emotion that takes place because you either win, you lose, or this and that, whether it's personally or whether it's party-wise. And I said, I don't get it. Maybe it was part of it.
Well, listen,
you know what I mean? I wasn't that.
Well, like I said, we had that conversation.
Why everybody would resign so quickly.
We had that conversation that morning, and I suggested not resigning. That would might, but again, you got many in the party that think that I run the party from behind the scenes, which I think is laughable. Which I absolutely just can't get over how funny that is.
I don't know. Nobody I know anyway.
Oh, you kidding me? It was in the emails today. In fact, Tom Gildersleeve put it in there again. This is a Joe move. This is a classic Joe move. No, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. That's like I left the RGC. I haven't looked back.
Well, I don't know. If Mike said that earlier, I totally discount it.
He does. He did say it. Obviously, they're all puppets of mine. It's just hilarious to me. But again, you guys are the ones that are representing the party. You guys are the ones representing the people. And I gotta say, I'm very nervous about the future because again, you guys aren't fighting. And I think this is the prime example. Republicans are gonna take the blame for giving Cardona $81,000, and they're gonna turn around like they always do and say, "Well, look, the Republicans agreed with it," just like they turn around every election year.
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Come on, Dan, you're not that naive.
I think half the public makes more than that.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I think that in your department head.
It doesn't matter, Dan.
And
it's an elected position.
We have building inspectors that make $92,000.
Dan, it's an elected position that they know what they're gonna get. It's an elected position. We can't compare it to everybody else. You can't compare it to anything in this city.
Absolutely.
It's an elected position, so he knows what he's getting. And again, for us to go turn around and Republicans to sit there and say 81,000 instead of 85 when the average is 67. No, with the guy with no experience. If you want to have this conversation in 4 years when he has all of his certifications, all right, it's a valid conversation to have. But this guy has nothing. Nothing. He has zero.
Well, that was part of my argument about 85. I said the guy still has to get certification, get this and that. And we have people in the office.
The people need to hear this.
Things.
The people need to hear it.
I don't know.
The people need to hear this, Dan. I don't know why that's so hard to
I-
understand. So people want to hear this. So when we're at city council meetings, we want Republicans out there saying, no, $75,000. Let them override you. Let them override you. It's on them. Like I said, if they're driving the car off the cliff, why the hell are we getting in the driver's seat? It doesn't make any sense, Dan.
I wish I said lower then.
But it's not too late. You got Monday.
That was a low pick.
You got Monday. You got Monday. It's not too
No,
late.
well, we got Monday. I mean, there's much bigger issues than
There
that.
is no bigger
I'll
issue
tell you
than the
that.
one in front of us. You know, I was taught
City
that
manager?
I was taught that
What
by
is city manager?
I was taught that my first time in business. The biggest problem, the most important problem, is the one in front of you. Tackle that one first because nothing else matters before that. And we have a problem
Those rat
right
bastards.
now. We have a problem right now that we are giving away $81,000 to a man who has no experience at all. When the average in the state is $67,000, $75,000 is a good starting point. And all we want to do is hear Republicans put up a friggin' argument. Put up an argument. That's it. That's all the people want to see because perception is the
I got
reality, Dan. Perception is the reality, and
One
people
thing
are hearing
It's
nothing.
interesting. I will say, I want to just say that, we as a council are somewhat numb to some things like that because on a daily basis we're hearing about, whether it's contractual raises, whether it's, a water department position that makes 85 and it's going to make 88 because he has 7,
But those are
I would
all
always
appointed
say
positions. Those are all appointed positions. They're not
Union,
elected.
Yeah.
That is the key here. He knew what he was getting. But apparently, he
So you're
knew he
saying
was getting 80 something.
You want to go into the royalty family of Cardona?
Yes. Yes, because he's not even related to them. Which is the funny part. He's not even really related to them. They're like
I
third
only say
cousins.
that 'cause they were saying,
So hold on. So
Cardona's
are you saying that?
royalty, man.
So are you saying that he's getting special treatment from Republicans
so.
because of his name? You're not saying he's
oh,
getting
absolutely
special
not.
treatment.
That's why we went down 5%. They were the ones. I said in my email, they're
so
on the
you guys-
Cardona
so-
royalty thing.
All right, hold on a second, because we're
No,
opening up
absolutely
other
not.
issues. Are we scared?
No, I agreed to the 5% reduction. They wanted to have it maintained. It was simple as that. And we had some
We're not
people
scared of
in
them,
our
are we?
caucus that went as low as 77. Nobody was at 75. I mean, it was lower than what his employees would make.
From what I heard,
no
Dan,
sense.
from what I heard is that you guys are scared of the Cardona name. That's all I got out of that, Dan.
Absolutely not.
Okay, because
It's just between me.
that's all
It's
I just
all on
heard.
me.
Okay.
Yeah, don't even talk about anybody else. It was all on me.
But it's still not done
And
yet.
it was like something that they wanted to have. I said, no freaking way is that acceptable. And we're at like 3% at 4%, and then they got 5%, and that's where it wound up. Is a 5% reduction. And I figured in my mind it was going to take them 2 years because I was looking at this contractual thing. We look at 2% that the other department has. It's going to take them 2.5 years to even get back. To
Dan,
85.
as a business guy,
Really? In 2026, what kind of salary is that?
as a business guy, Dan, and again, and I look at things through a business
Yep.
aspect since
Well, yeah.
obviously I own a business. There is no way in hell I'm paying a person to come in with no skill, no certifications, no nothing to a job that he was elected to do at $81,000. Only in the
Problem is
government
it's
can you sit there and come up with a scheme like that. That's a hell of a scheme.
Well, it's a department head.
It's
That's
not
the
well
problem.
again, but
You
he's
have,
an
like,
elected
look at a
official.
couple.
We can't go down that
But
road
you look
again,
at
Dan.
some of the other appointments.
We can't go down that
Look at
road
my
again. We can't go
former
down that road. It's not,
colleague.
it doesn't matter. It's not
Dante Bartolomeo. She's up there in freaking in Hartford making $150,000 a year.
Do you know what?
As an
That's
assistant of-
great.
of motor
That's
vehicles.
the state. That's the state. That's not here. That's
You
not
got-
here, and that's not an elected position.
you
It's
got
an appointed position.
Millie Torres, which is Democratic Party chairman, that's the assistant of her making $140,000 a year. I mean, you look at the
I'm trying to-
nepotistic way of bullshit going on in
So
politics.
why are we
It's
allowing?
bullshit.
Why are we allowing that here in the city then? Why are we allowing that in the city?
Oh,
Dan,
that $80,000.
Dan, really?
That's nothing, guy. Really?
It's nothing.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, I gotta say, I'm very
Snowplow guy makes
I'm very
106.
disappointed in that, in that comment. I mean, it bothers me
You
because
can be all you
hold on a
want.
second, because
You
that
gotta
sounds
put it into
to me,
perspective of what
that sounds like a
salaries
roadie comment. It's only $5. It's only $5 here, $5 here, $5 here, $3 here. It all adds up, and the fact that again, Republicans aren't showing that they have any fight.
Damn.
You don't have any fight. That's all I'm hearing. Is that you don't
Well,
want to
you
fight?
know, a
you
lot
just
of
wanna be
fight
out.
goes beyond the corridors of this and that because there would be 85, it would
you
be
please
75.
do not pull,
you go
do
to
not pull them.
No, here's the story here's the story, mister, where you're going to lose some money. Is it goes to a battle. They got 85. We got 75. Guess what? They got the vote. It goes at 85 and we lost $4,000.
Put up the
I
fight.
mean, you got to be a
Put
freaking
up-
politician.
Put up the
That's
fight.
politics.
Put up the fight. Put up the fight. If that's where they end
Fight
up,
was
it's
getting
on
down
them.
to 81.
No, that's not the fight.
I'm with Sonya jokes going back and forth with her saying this and that. Me and Sonya go back and forth about this, that, and the other. Man, you don't get it. So 81 was good, or it would have been 85 because when it goes to the floor, it's going to go 7-5, 8-4. So I do a lot of work behind the scenes to save money that you were just not even recognizable.
Are
for.
you putting on Mike
And
Carabera
I
said
really
we don't
do
understand?
really, really hard work on behalf of the party. And when you don't have the votes, it's really, really difficult because, like I just said, it can be 75 or 85. They go, I, without comment, and it's 85. We just lost 4 Gs
But
that I freaking
again,
gained, supposedly.
But again, so I'll go back to my thing. Why vote for a Republican if they're just going to act like Democrats? You don't want to fight, so therefore. But again, so what are we giving them a reason for?
81. What do you mean?
Stop it! You're getting it down to 81. It should be at 75.
Dopey,
Dopey
Republican would have it at 85. You get what I'm saying?
No, I get what you're saying, but all I'm hearing is that nobody wants to fight. And then, so again, nobody wants to sit there and give people a reason to vote for a Republican because they're just not going to do it. They're not going to fight. And you said it yourself before, is that you don't fight with the Cardona name. You don't want to fight with that because of the unions. So I'm just trying to follow where you're coming from because you've given me like 4 different explanations for it.
Not necessarily, because I'm in a union labor ad hoc.
I don't care about the union labor.
Contract.
That's not what we're talking about.
Arbitration than ever in history.
Okay.
In the city in the last 6 years.
Okay.
We've had beneficial to get into the weeds where it's like the fire contract and the other contract where we've won 6 out of 10 articles that the Democrats actually went along with. None of this is like necessarily public because it's like administrative crap. It's not a lot that you don't realize. And it's kind of disheartening in a sense. But
isn't that
really,
your... I don't mean
we're doing some good work.
I don't mean to try to be...
Well, I'm doing good work. I'm doing good work. I did that. What the hell everybody else is doing.
This is...
I just tell them what I did.
I'm trying to...
And it's really, really good.
I mean, I'm just trying to figure out, nobody hears this, Dan. Nobody hears what you guys are doing.
No, they don't necessarily have to, in a sense, because I'm not one of those guys. I'm going to go on Facebook and say, "Look at man, I got this, that, and the other." And in the end of the day, the budget is what it is.
People want to
know.
And
I'm never happy with the budget.
Well, listen, there's a lot of Republicans. We just had this discussion before. There's a lot of Republicans that don't go out and vote in the city, and there's many reasons for that. But there are some of them that when we've been knocking doors, and again, this has been for years, is that they say the same thing. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter in this city. But the problem is, we don't see anybody putting up these fights that you even admitted we should be having. But yet Republicans on the city council are not having these fights. And they're certainly not having them out in public, which is where they need to be having them, to get Republicans fired up to go do something. So you're sitting here telling me yourself that they should be making 75 because that's basically where Denise came in. Give them 5%. 75 should be where they're going. But yet we're giving a guy again with no experience, and on top of it, it's coming from the Republican side. So Democrats,
but it would be
as they always do,
if we didn't do anything. That's the problem.
Yeah, I think we're just going to. I think we're just going to go around here in circles. Unfortunately,
picture this. Put in perspective. Denise Grandy made 73 in 2015.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
8 years ago.
Yep.
Beyond all the nonsense and the inflation, if you want to put 2-3-4%. I mean, how the hell are you going to argue that? I mean, you just look idiotic at some point.
75. I think 75 was a great starting point for someone with no experience. Remember though, there's a huge difference we're missing here. When Denise took over, she had the experience. She had already had 17 years in the office. She already had all of her certifications. It's a huge difference, Dan. We're talking apples and oranges here, and she still only made 73. You're giving a man with nothing and giving him 81. Dan, you're making your argument worse. I don't know if you realize that or not.
They wanted to make it 68 back then.
Okay, but again, you want to make it 75.
And I was in here. I'm looking for 78, and we agreed on 73. So she could have been in worse place.
So you're looking for 75
until I just said this.
So you're looking at they're willing to give 73 for someone with all that wealth of knowledge, and now again you're giving 81 for a guy with nothing. All I'm saying is reconsider it before Monday. 75 should be the offer. And that's what I think what people want to see. Because again, you can't compare Mike Cardona to Denise Grandy when they came in. One had all of her certifications. One had 17 years in the office already. This guy has nothing. And you're offering him 81. At some point that's going to.
Denise Grandy wasn't in the office all that much. There's a lot of other issues that I had with her through her whole term.
But she was elected.
There's a lot more to it, too.
Wait a minute.
That's why I don't get the superficial things. There's a lot of things that take place during an individual's thing that, I understand yourself and everybody else and this and that doesn't know the inside story, per se. That like, you're getting hit at them. Well, this one didn't do that. This one didn't do that.
I'm looking at pure facts. Did Denise Grandy not go in with a full certification?
Agreed.
You agree, but yet we're not doing anything, Dan. That's again. Do you see where the problem is? Do you see where people like myself? Do you see where people like myself sit there and question the leadership?
I get it, but it's only like over $2 an hour.
I don't give a fuck what it is, Dan. To be completely honest, I don't care. It's the principle.
I just paid $2 more for my McDonald's burger because minimum wage.
All right, well, Dan, this is gonna go around in circles because obviously we're never gonna come around to seeing this the same way.
No,
because
the town committee stuff I think we agree on, but that one I don't even get it. I mean, I don't know how much money any individual makes. This probably has a impact on their perspective of what 80,000 or 75,000 means. But.
Okay.
Well,
Dan, it's always a pleasure talking to you, sir. At least I got more out of you rather than your colleague there who I don't know what the hell he's doing.
I just want to know, was he combative? Was he?
Of course he is. He always is because he doesn't like anyone talking back.
Combative or not friendly?
He doesn't like it when people talk truth to him and come back at him with things and again it's the same thing. The public health crisis vote, which and you know what? I'll never get over that, Dan. And as much as Mike Carabella says we need to move on, no, I'm not going to move on from that because that absolutely went against every single thing a Republican believes in. It went against everything that we believe in. So the fact that he thinks we're going to get over that.
On that one. I will say we got porked on that one.
No, you didn't get porked.
Trapped into it.
Your colleague fucked you. That's what happened. He gave in. He gave in because he cried. Because Lou cried.
was a very strange era, you know.
It doesn't
just like
matter.
2 and 3 years ago, because we were all like,
Dan, that's
trapped
when
into
true
this
leadership
freaking
comes out.
bullshit, freaking political correctness.
That is when true leadership is tested. True leadership is tested when there are things that are uncomfortable to speak about, when things are uncomfortable to vote against. That's when real leadership comes in, Dan. And you guys showed none of it. Again, I'll give you the credit, Dan, because you at least had the balls to come before us and say, this is why I voted for that. But to sit there and say because that's what you believe,
I
no.
got beat up.
No. You should have got beat up, and rightfully so. You went against Republican values. You threw our police department under the bus.
Guess what? You know, we're all here today, and we're not canceled. So maybe it was a good thing.
No, it's not. You can't worry about
I
that.
have no
Are you
friggin'
worried? Are you
idea.
worried about getting canceled? Are you worried again, Dan? Dan,
no, I'm not.
you know what,
but
Dan?
it's just-
I'm going to
it's
end
like
this.
a great joke.
I'm gonna end this discussion here because it's only going to get worse. So, listen. True leadership is tested when you have to do the things that are unpopular. That's when things are truly tested. Elaine, and this is just a prime example. Elaine came into it unpopular because she had people going after her every step of the way, and she turned around and showed true leadership and got a group together to get shit done. Plain and simple, she got shit done. And people can hate her for that, but she did what she needed to do to get the job done. And you could disagree with that, which is all fine and dandy. And you guys can sit there and think that the new leadership is going to be a better one, which we already seen how that plays out. It plays out with us almost losing our party. So again, I think a lot of people are going to be really disappointed in how this all plays out. They really are.
Yeah,
And
from
it's
a party perspective, the only thing I can say, I'll be really happy with whoever's in place in the future. Just hopefully they're, very patient, let things flow, and I think things will be fine in regards to that. You don't have an election coming forward for a couple of years now. And one thing I want to let everybody know, money does not win freaking elections. I've been saying that. Nobody wants to believe it. To raise $20,000, $40,000, $50,000, you could have 10,000 signs. If there was all the signs out there this election, we should have landslided 20-1.
Money certainly.
Don't win election.
Hold on a second.
Please.
Money certainly helps, and less for.
Hold
on a second, because that's somewhat wrong. So for area races, yes, you're absolutely correct.
Right.
For area races, you're absolutely correct. Area races, you should be able to knock on every door. Absolutely. For at-large races, yeah, you need money because you got to do some additional stuff. So the money does play a part. It is not the major part.
No.
It is not the major part.
You're not a chairman because area races, you should be working today. You should be going to Chamber of Commerce events. You should be doing this. You should be doing that. That's what an area race is. Then you put a face of voice on a sign. Otherwise, a sign means nothing.
Oh, absolutely.
It's just a name with a freaking face on it.
Absolutely.
And anybody that doesn't get that, I stress that. I always said that as a chairman.
Absolutely, but money's not a bad thing to have. But money's also not a bad thing to have.
It's not a bad thing, but it's not a great thing.
It's a tremendous thing.
It's kind of a crutch. I think
a crutch
is more than anything.
Yeah, the more you speak, the more I want to talk to you and dig into this even more, because
yes, you should. If you want to win
crutch to have more money. But
the only people who want to win elections, two people, Carabetta, Zach Ruski, and actually Sean. Only people that actually contacted me that went out to work for them, and Zambrowski. To some extent, I went out here twice with him. But otherwise, I mean, those are the guys who work for it. Those are the guys
don't get me wrong.
It
is definitely
on. The other one's lost by a mile.
It is definitely on candidates. It is definitely on candidates to sit there and do the work. Absolutely.
Freaking winner.
Oh, absolutely.
You got to be a loser. I don't even get it.
No, I'm in complete agreement with you on there.
Frustration.
No, I'm in complete agreement with you there. I'm in complete agreement with you on that one. that we are going to find common ground on, because I am definitely in agreement with you. It is on the candidates to sit there and reach out to you. Absolutely, no doubt. All right, but it's getting late. It's
All
already
right, thanks,
9:30.
man.
We're on a 2.5
Have a
hour
long
show.
night. Good night.
Dan, I'll talk to you later, buddy. Bye.
I love.
All right. So obviously Dan left me with a lot more questions. It's 9:30. We're gonna have to call it. We're gonna have to wrap this up. It's unbelievable. I mean, some of the stuff that I just heard, you guys heard it too. I'm gonna leave it at that. That is, it's disappointing. It's disappointing because they know it's bullshit. They know it, but yet it's gonna happen anyways. But that's the city of Meriden in a nutshell. You just heard it. You just heard it. Oh, do you know what, Elaine? I should go in this chair. I should go in this chair. They think you're fucking horrible. Oh, God. Oh, God. Man. You can't make this shit up. You heard. I mean, this is from our minority leader. Oh, my God. All right. You know what, guys? Before my head explodes, I am going to leave it at that, and we'll pick this up next week. And like I said, next week is open to the rest of them. If Carabetta wants to come on again, and Sean and Lou and Manny and all the other group that is anti-Elaine, anti-Joe, listen, I'll give you 2.5 hours yourselves to sit there and try to bash me. Knock yourselves out. But until then, guys, I love each and every one of you, and I thank you for joining us for this 2.5 hour shit show. Yeah, listen, there's a lot of work to be done. Obviously, there's a lot of work to be done, and they're going to need a strong leader to come in there and really start cleaning a house and start getting shit back together the way it should be. You know what? Maybe I'm going to run for chair. Won't that be a hoot? All right, guys, until next time, I love you. God bless you. And as always, God bless this amazing country of ours. Until next time, I will see you all later.
And the nation and the million faces formed together, made for elevation. And the soldier won't surrender faith as I can fire the never pursue embers. The voice